Greetings everyone and welcome to December the 11th episode of the GnM Podcast. Episode 8? Is it, Nathan? Is it episode 8?
Something like that, I lost track.
Something like that. Anyway, welcome Nathan.
Welcome Conor.
How's life? How's it going?
Life is good.
Oh, you've changed it.
I did. You know, I want to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
I don't want to become like a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Anyway, life is strange.
Life is strange, yes. You said it.
I said it.
Okay, yes. So, before we're going to go into what we've been playing, like we always start off with, we just want to say that I won the competition.
Yes.
The Game of the Year Awards. We're going to be talking about the Game of the Year Awards later on in the episode, and talking about some of the stuff that kind of come around because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But we just wanted to let you know that because we've actually got stuff to talk about, we're not going to be dissecting the Game Awards award for award kind of thing. We're just going to be saying, you know, which one's Game of the Year, we'll talk about that a little bit, and things like that. So, what have you been playing, Nathan?
I've been playing a hell of a lot, actually, because I got a very, very good deal.
Yeah.
I got about 5 or so games for about a tenner.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on a sale. Mainly THQ games. THQ being the company that went bust quite a while ago. About 4 or 5 years ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about them.
They still have everything, but like, did they make Saints Row and that and everything?
They did, yeah. I think they did, yeah. Volition, I think.
And a few Warhammer games as well, I'm guessing.
Yes, yeah. So I managed to get my hands on quite a few games, really. I got Darksiders 1 and 2, and I managed to get the season pass for the second one as well, which was insanely cheap. Red Faction Guerrilla, which is a really underrated treasure. It's fantastic. And really the kind of standout for me is...
I haven't heard of that one, but I've heard of Red Faction Armageddon.
Armageddon was the sequel.
Okay.
Yeah, which didn't get as good reviews as Guerrilla did.
Did it not?
And did not sell as well either, from what I understand, but the series hasn't really done very well to begin with. And finally, kind of the standout for me was my first real Telltale game, Tales from the Borderlands. I got the first episode for free as well. Yeah. So I got all those for under £10.
I've heard the Tales from Borderlands. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it's earned those good things. It's really fantastic.
To be fair though, some of the people who slagged it off, like, I don't even like Borderlands in the first place, so I was like kind of wondering how it would fare. Because you like Borderlands a lot, didn't you?
I do. And I think, coming from that perspective, I think that's probably why I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll kind of start talking about that first, because that is my favourite, definitely.
Yeah.
It tells a very, very good story. You know, it starts off with, as you know, Borderlands tends to do with these opening kind of comic strip style things, where it throws up like this slideshow of animation of the story so far.
Yeah.
And it starts with Marcus, who's a weapons merchant throughout the game and principal narrator, and he is basically describing the events of Pandora, and basically explaining that there are Vault Hunters, who are your heroes from Borderlands 1, 2 and the pre-sequel, and then there is your characters, who really aren't anything special at all. Really what you've got is 2 disgruntled Hyperion desk jockeys and 2 grifters. And they've all kind of been brought together by circumstances. You've got Reese and Vaughn, Reese being voiced by who else? Troy Baker. And
of course.
Yeah, and you've got Fiona and Sasha. Fiona, I think, is voiced by someone named Laura Bailey. Very, very good. Anyway, I think she played Nisha in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Sounds right. She's definitely been in it before. And it kind of goes from there. You've got Reese and Vaughn, who want to disgrace Hyperion's new boss, Vasquez, by stealing a deal away from him and buying a vault key to open a vault which they believe will give him riches. And you've got Sasha and Fiona, who made this vault key. They faked it and are trying to pass it on to get 10 million.
Yeah.
And it goes on from there. The money gets lost. They work together to try and get it back. They lose the money. They find an actual vault. And I'm about partway through episode 3 now, because I went away and bought all the others.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. The story is fantastic. The setup's brilliant. I think Reese and Fiona are your 2 playable characters, and it's told through kind of story within story. So you'll have occasionally Fiona doing the narrating, and in those sections you'll be playing as Fiona, and then Reese doing the narrating, and you'll be playing as Reese in those sections. They've both lost their friends Vaughn and Sasha, and they've both been kind of tied up and being forced to walk towards, we don't really know yet, somewhere by this mysterious guy. And it's obvious by kind of what's going on between them that something's happened between the 2 of them, and they're not as close as they were in the episodes kind of leading up to this point. So, it's quite interesting. I like the way Reese's character is set up.
Yeah.
They kind of make fun of the fact that everyone wants to make a Handsome Jack-like character by saying, everyone at Hyperion, which is the company that Jack ran when he owned Pandora, everyone at Hyperion wants to be Handsome Jack. Yeah. So you get a lot of Handsome Jack clones, like people who just want to copy off him and just go around being utter dickheads to everyone else because they think that's what Handsome Jack would do.
Okay.
And Reese is one of these. And so as a result, whenever he tries to be that kind of charismatic Handsome Jack figure, you get Fiona, who's the real leader, just kind of leaving him behind, and everybody just walking on without him, and Reese trying to catch up. So that's very funny, and the characters are really well crafted.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it, to be honest with you. I'm just going through a list of THQ games. They have made some absolutely awful games.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. But they've made some good ones as well. What are the awful ones?
I'm thinking of the Naked Brothers Band, the video game. Nicktoons, Globs of Doom. Race of Pigs. Neighborhood games. I'm looking through the Naked Brothers Band gameplay. My God, it's the worst game I've ever seen. Did you ever see that show on Nickelodeon?
No.
It was like a band made of like 12-year-olds and 8-year-olds, and they played drums, and they were just like some pop band who used to go on world tours and stuff. It lasted like 3 seasons.
Club 7.
Yeah, but it was like fake. Zoe 101, the video game. They made the very last game ever for the Game Boy Advance, which was the Drake and Josh Talents Showdown.
Shit.
Oh, good. But they made Company of Heroes. That was a good game.
Yeah, that was a good game.
They made the Teen Titans game. I don't know if that's good, but you might be interested in it. They made SpongeBob Atlantis SquarePants. That was actually really good.
I have played that. That was pretty fun, to be fair.
They made the Incredibles game. Oh my God, that was great.
Yeah, they did. I used to have that on Game Boy. That was quite good, to be fair.
I played it on PlayStation 2. That was one of my best friends from that age. He used to come around to my house every Saturday, and that's all we'd play. We played that all the time. We played it like 8 or 9 times through. We loved that game. It was so great.
Yeah, I used to play it on Game Boy because it didn't have save files. It had a password system. Yeah. So I'd just go and Google the passcodes for the last mission, and I'd just put it in and play the last mission. And it was a really short last mission.
We used to get really stuck. Do you know the one where he's on the island and he's shooting the planes down with that shooter?
Yeah,
it's like halfway through the game. You would be stuck on that level for absolutely ages, and it'd be a fluke how we get through, and then we'd be like, yes.
Yeah, I know, but I bet if you went back and played it now, you'd do it first.
Probably, yeah. It's like we should take ages to do Simpsons Hit and Run. That was a great game as well.
Yeah. It surprised me. I could do Simpsons Hit and Run in a few hours now, whereas it used to take me weeks.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. Yeah.
But, I was just remembering, it's surprisingly quite a long game. You know, there's 7 different levels. You know, all with quite large worlds.
Lots to see.
Yeah, with quite a few different story missions, plus all the side missions. I was like, they've actually kind of pulled the stops out and made quite a good game.
Yeah.
It was actually, thinking back, it was actually quite incredible. Oh, but they Homefront, bloody hell. THQ.
Yeah, I've heard that. Isn't there a new Homefront game coming out soon?
I don't know.
I heard there. I must be mistaking it with something else, but it sounds a lot like Homefront.
This is THQ all the way through, you know, like Homefront, Saints Row the Third, Vampire Legends Power 3, and then you go to Double Ob 2, Wheel of Fortune. You draw Pictionary on the Wii.
They were a big company, weren't they? They were a big
It seems like they're one of them companies that would take anything that any TV show or anything would give them to go make a game. And they go, okay.
Yep. And I think we wonder why they went bust.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So Darksiders 2.
Oh, well, I haven't played Darksiders 2 yet, but I've played Darksiders 1.
The first one, yeah.
Yes. To be honest, it got very good reviews from what I've seen, and I think maybe it's a bit dated now, but I don't see the appeal.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Oh.
Have you played it?
I've never actually played it, no. I've heard it, I knew it existed. But
It's kind of interesting, I guess, in that the environment is kind of interesting. You know, you've got a world where basically it's 100 years on from a war that took place on Earth between heaven and hell.
yeah.
From what I understand, I might be completely wrong because the story is terrible at setting up. They just throw names at you and throw factions at you and just go, yeah, this is our story. We know you'll like it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Apparently they're teasing the Darksiders 3.
I wouldn't be surprised because I know the franchise has been picked up.
Yeah. By Nordic Games.
Yeah, because that was THQ's parent company, I believe. But yeah, it's the setting is kind of interesting because it's 100 years after this war between heaven and hell, and humanity has basically been wiped out. So you're running around in the ruins of, I think, probably New York City.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting, I suppose. You know, you can pick up cars and use them as weapons. That's fun.
Yeah.
Kind of. But beyond that, the graphics are not that impressive. I mean, you won't see like jagged edges. Or
they are on the monsters and yourself, but like the locations look kind of bad. Look, Jesus, them trees are awful.
The terrible textures, aren't they? That's the problem. Is the textures. It all looks drab and washed out. The combat is the most button mashy thing ever. It's worse than Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Okay.
Because, you know, at least with Syndicate, they had the decency to put in some kind of like variation every like now and then. Whereas with this, you just all it depends on, the combat depends on you pressing X at different times.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do some kind of spinny flourish kind of attack, you just wait a bit before pressing X again.
Okay, yeah.
And that's it. That's all there is to it. And yeah, the story is just not that interesting. I don't know what's going on because all they do is really throw characters at you and throw names at you and throw powers at you.
Yeah, and they talk like this all the time because it's an interesting part of the game. One of them kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and just sometimes as I kind of feel like I'm starting to get into it, they throw in these on rails kind of shooter sections where you're flying on a griffin's back, shooting from the back with some kind of angelic machine gun. It's bizarre.
Do you know what music I'm imagining there while that's happening?
Yeah.
The Eagles and Lord of the Rings like hey da hee. It's like in slow motion.
It's kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah. In a weird way, it's kind of like that.
Oh my god, these textures are awful. He's just gone close up on the monster, this big monster.
Yeah.
Oh, it just don't look right. Even like when the building was falling off and it split into 3 places before it landed on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really have to go very long until I encountered my first game-breaking glitch, and that was 5 minutes in. Okay. And the game just stopped working. I think that's probably uncommon because I've only encountered one other one since, and that was it. The game is also really unresponsive on the start menu.
Okay, yeah.
Like, you press start and nothing happens for about 5 seconds.
Well, that happened to me with Fallout 4. You'd like press a button, you go like resume, and it wouldn't resume. You have to press it harder. You're like, resume.
Yeah. And I tell you the worst thing, right? This is from an aesthetic point of view for me. I mean, some other people might be into this, but I'm not. Everything coats you in gallons of blood.
Yeah.
It's horrible. The game is trying to be God of War.
Was this made in Japan?
No, I don't. I think it was Volition Studios, so I think it's American.
Because like it looks like a flashy sword and everything.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. And of course the completely oversized sword.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The stupid size. You look like, what is his name? Something Atlas Strife or Cloud Strife. What is his name from Final Fantasy VII? But yeah.
You know about Cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cloud.
Yeah. Everything coats you in blood. You can't go and pick up a key for a door. Instead, what you do is you pick up a knife and stab the thing in the eye, which coats you in blood, and then the door unlocks.
Yeah.
Like, everything... I think... What's his name? War. Yeah, the character you're playing as is called War, I think. Everything War does is violent in this game, and it's so irritating. I don't know why it irritates me, but it really, really does. It just makes him feel so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So all everything you do is picking up like more implements with which to brutally kill things, and the combat is like even when you're watching him do these violent things, you get no kind of sense of achievement. You get no sense of, oh, I made him do that, because when you get to critically kill an enemy, you just press B on the Xbox, obviously. You just press B and he'll do an animation. Yeah. That's it. There is no... At least God of War had a QTE. At least God of War had a QuickTime event. This game, it feels like it's trying to be God of War. And the thing about God of War is I don't even like God of War. It's not even that... It's not my thing. I'll tell you why. Because Kratos is a dickhead. He's a bastard. And I don't like that.
I think most people play it for the spectacle.
Yeah,
personally.
And that's fine. And I get that. And you know, that is one of its plus points.
Yeah.
You know, it's big. It's a big game. The graphics have always been impressive, even for back when, you know. And it is kind of engrossing for a time. You know, that is good about it. But with this, it's not even engrossing. It doesn't draw you in any way. It just gives you a sword. It tells you when to press X. And then it says, right, go and slay some monsters and feel like a badass. But I don't like that. This is not fun for me.
Yeah.
It's not fun for me to... And I'm making a lot of God of War comparisons here, I know. But it's not fun for me to rip off, I think it was Helios's head as Kratos. At least there's a quick time event there so I can feel like I've done it.
Yeah.
But with Darksiders, you just press B and watch him rip things apart and wonder why the fuck you're even here in the first place, because I don't know why I'm killing this creature. I don't know what this creature's supposed to have done. He says he wants to restore the balance. I'm making air quotation marks there, by the way.
Yeah.
But what the fuck is the balance? Basically, the game serves as a glorified way for you to get in and murder things and coat you in blood so that you can feel like some sort of action hero. Every time you feel like the game is going to do something quite interesting, it just goes, here, have more blood. Here, blood. Don't you feel like such a tank? No, I don't.
Okay.
Really don't. I'm going to stick with it though, because to be fair, there is something kind of, I do want to, but at this point, stick it out and see how it goes, and there is enough of, sometimes there can be quite fun kind of running and jumping kind of things, like platforming sections, which can be quite fun, quite reminiscent of Prince of Persia from 2008, which is a far better example of how this kind of game can be done. But it's not a game I would really recommend unless you are the kind of person who, likes God of War, and there's nothing wrong with liking that, but this game is basically a clone of that.
It looks like that, but in New York to me.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like when watching it.
With really unimpressive textures.
Yeah.
Whereas with God of War, it's really pretty.
Yeah, and
even back then.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
When you were saying that, I was trying to think of... There was a game that came out in, 2006. It was strictly a QTE game, but it was just massive, massive battles. It's going to come to me probably some point later in the show, but, one guy turns into the size of the Earth and punches a guy through the world across space.
You mean Godfist? Is it Godfist?
Is it Godfist? Let me get it up. I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell, Godfist.
It's something. I know exactly what you mean.
But it's freaking mint.
Yeah.
No, it's not Godfist. It's not Godfist. No, it's not that. But yeah,
I really want to know what it was, because that sounds stupid.
It's stupid. No, it's not. It's not that. It was someone else, and it was a Japanese game, and
of course it was.
Some guy punches him so hard that he's flying out past the solar system and everything, and he's about to die, and then he just opens his eye and turns around and flies into the Earth. It's great. And turns into planet size and everything. But I need to get this Naked Brothers Band game. It's the only game that I've ever seen IGN give a 1 out of 10.
Really?
1 out of 10.
They give a 1 out of 10?
1 out of 10.
That must have been back when IGN had standards.
Yep.
Wow.
The Nintendo DS, though, did score better views, as it scored a 4 out of 10 by GameZone. Great game. Game of the year. It's
absolutely
awful. And what was the other game you said you played?
Red Faction Guerrilla.
Oh, Guerrilla, yeah.
Yeah. This Red Faction Guerrilla really surprised me.
2009?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And considering this just come out, I think, because Darksiders came out in 2010.
This was the days of when games come out for the 360 and PlayStation 3, a couple of months before PC, which doesn't really happen that much anymore, actually.
No.
With the exception to Assassin's Creed. But
but with Assassin's Creed, they had to be careful.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah. So what game is this? This what is it basically?
Well, considering this came out in 2009 and Darksiders came out in 2010,
that's got good reviews.
Yeah, it deserves them, to be fair. This game has far better graphics. It's far nicer to look at. And it's a game about the Red Faction, as the name suggests, who are this freedom fighter / terrorist cell, essentially, is what they are. And they are fighting the EDF, and the EDF are the Earth Defense Force, which have basically taken control of the planet and are running it like it's a mining colony, whereas the colonists on Mars, which is where the game takes place, want to be free. Pretty much like the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And you play Alec Mason, who just came to the planet to do some mining work, met his brother Dan. Dan died. Alec went off, killed some EDF guys, and all of a sudden he's in the Red Faction and going around smashing and blowing things up.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. That's the setup to the story. All that takes place in about 10 minutes. Like, not even 10 minutes. Alec gets through the checkpoint, meets Dan, says something to Dan about his mother, about his something like that. They then go somewhere. Dan has an argument with someone who's called Sam, I think. Character who's part of the Red Faction. They then go to a construction site. Mason blows things up. Alec Mason blows things up as part of a demo. Dan then gets shot by the EDF. Then, literally suddenly transitions so that Alec is walking towards a bunch of EDF soldiers.
Okay.
And then he just beats them in with his hammer.
Oh, cool.
And then all of a
Lovely.
sudden, guys walk up to him and go, "You're in the red faction now."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay, I'm in." And that's the setup for the game, and that takes place in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's terrible setup.
Yeah,
That's
it
terrible,
is.
right? They could have written something better than that.
Who's their
But-
writing team? Is it the guy behind Right to Hell? I mean, Jesus.
Oh God. Once you get past that, once you get that truly terrible opening, which I think really only serves to give you this sandbox kind of experience, it's a good game.
Is it fully open world?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Sections become available to you throughout the course of the game, but you can visit those sections freely anyway. It just literally opens them up on your map.
I've seen that you can destroy literally everything.
You can destroy literally everything,
Yeah.
which is the highlight of the game. It has an insane physics engine.
Yeah.
Really impressive. The downside to that is there is not many landmarks. There's not many buildings.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can just see this guy just running around smashing pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with this insane hammer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really fun. You will find there's a variety of side missions, a real variety actually, and very often when you're driving from point to point on your map, because you have to drive because it's a big map, but sparse, like I said, which is a bit of a disappointment, but understandable given the kind of limitations, you know. Yeah, you'll very often get like incoming just kind of events, like go take out this convoy, and they'll show you the convoy route on your map, and you chase down that convoy, and you have to engage in you have to stop them, either capture a vehicle that's part of the convoy or blow up the convoy.
Yeah.
Which is very fun.
Oh shit, that's cool. He just shut down like this smoke turret. It's like this massive town. He just blew up the bottom of it, and it just went timber.
Yeah. And see what I mean about the physics engine?
Yeah, it's great.
Very impressive. Yeah, and also there'll be kill a courier, so follow him and then do it, steal his mail, that kind of thing. The buildings, they're kind of they're made of tin, but that's obviously just so you can drive through them for the hell of it.
Yeah.
By myself, when I have to demolish a thing, you'll find there's a lot of buildings on the map, and it will literally say demolition target, so go
Okay.
and blow it up. And very often I just find the most heavily armoured car I can and just drive it straight through it, because that's always fun to do. It plays very much like Grand Theft Auto, actually. Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto 5, in the sense that, you've got driving in and out of cars, crouch cover, that kind of thing. You've got all those mechanics. And it kind of feels like, when you're playing a game, right? And I can't bring it to mind, but when you play a game and you'll find there's a mechanic missing that you just wish was in it and that would suit the game perfectly, but for some reason they haven't included it.
Yeah.
Well,
I know
you won't
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you won't find that in Red Faction. There is
cool.
there's a mechanic for everything. There's you can do pretty much whatever you would want to or need to do in a shooter or a third-person sandbox. You can crouch behind cover. You can, So the only real kind of complaints you have are with the mechanics that are in there.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is it takes you about 3 minutes to get into a car.
Okay.
The funniest thing is I was stood right at the front of the car. I pressed Y to get into the car, and he ran round the entire length of the car,
Yeah.
opened the door up, spent about 2 minutes climbing inside it, and then turned the engine on, which only then allowed me to drive.
Yes.
It was, and when you're in a fire zone, that's disastrous.
Yeah.
'Cause you will not be able to fight off enemies. You've just got to escape the area.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Do you have unlimited grenades?
No, you don't.
Well, this guy's got a shit ton.
Yeah, you can get about 20.
Okay, yeah.
And you can modify how many kind of get laid down. It's a very fun game. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm looking. I might get it.
Yeah.
Because it's on PC, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it got a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a bit of a shame really because it didn't really sell very well at all. And I think Armageddon sold even worse, despite its both of the high reviews.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I heard of Armageddon, so I think it probably sold.
Yeah, well, I think it did, but I think it didn't sell well enough to kind of warrant them to
make another one.
Making another one. And that is a bit of a disappointment, but I suppose that means they can reboot it and maybe focus on what would be really interesting, which is actually, really focus on the fact that you're kind of the terrorist. I mean, when you talk to some of the guys who are part of the Red Faction, there's one guy in particular, Jenkins, they're complete nutters. They're batshit crazy. They're honestly, most of them are terrorists.
Yeah.
Inciting, rebellion, revolution. Not just that. That's fine if you've got an evil dictator, which the EDF clearly are, but you're going round blowing up people's houses. You're going round blowing up wind farms. Those are non-military targets. You are going around murdering innocent people.
You've blown up everything.
Yeah, you can blow up everything, underlined 3 times, everything being in capital letters. Because that's kind of it, you're a terrorist. And if they focus more on that, that could be quite interesting. But I think maybe we're a bit shy about tackling that subject, and you can understand why, really, can't you?
Yeah.
It's a sensitive issue, but, why not? I think Red Faction has been, in the past, known for kind of dealing with issues of social rebellion and that kind of thing. Why wouldn't they kind of push the boat out a little bit? But I suppose we'll never know now, because although the series has been picked up, it's probably unlikely they're ever going to make another one. But it has a great potential. I think you'd really enjoy it. Anyway, that's enough about me. What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Okay. More Oblivion. About 35 hours in More Oblivion.
35 hours already?
Too much. It's
Christ almighty.
Truly made me fall in love with the series again. I mean, I was going out for ages last Saturday, getting this game to work. I was just like, right, let's do it. Let's get this game bloody working. And, I was watching videos on how to get it done, all of which are helpless. I mean, but it was like, okay, this is going to be for people who don't mod and don't know what to do, and then yeah, you need your game directory file, you need this, you need to download this, put this in there, yada yada yada, yes, all that. No! This is why I'm watching this video for you to help me with that crap. But
thank you, how to.
Yeah, so it took me ages finding the damn game directory, which probably many of you are laughing at. But
I'm not, because I have no idea what you're speaking another language, mate.
Yeah, well, it's the folder on the PC, for the actual game. And then you got basically what you got to do is you got to download the More Oblivion, pop it in the folder, and some of the mods that you've got to get to actually make it to work. And then you can actually mod the mods that you can get for Oblivion actually work in More Oblivion, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Wow.
And basically, I got it to work. And when you start the game, you say, where do you want to start? In Vardenfell as normal, in Vardenfell somewhere random, so that's some random start in Morrowind. In Cyrodiil as normal, or somewhere in Cyrodiil at random. And so obviously I picked Vardenfell as normal because I want to play Morrowind as it's properly played. Because I actually played Morrowind. I know you know this, Nev, but I don't know if the viewers do. But I actually played Morrowind about, how long ago was it? 10, 11 months ago? Something like that. But I don't know, I just kind of rushed through it because I just really wasn't enjoying it.
Because you had the dice roll.
Well, I got a mod to fix that. It was just everything else about the mechanics and everything. The way people were walking, how rough it was, getting into locations, the long loading times and everything. It was just, I didn't really enjoy it. I just kind of carried on because I was interested in the story. And I don't know if you're ever going to play it, but there's a point in the story which I was like jaw dropped when I first played it, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because
I absolutely will. Yeah,
because it's just like, holy shit, I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't even know this existed, but it's literally crazy. So yeah, I've just been kind of going around the city, around all the cities like Vivek and Balmora and Mordhold, going up to Solstheim and everything. It's been great.
This game. How much of this game takes place on Solstheim? Because Solstheim was a DLC from Skyrim.
Yeah, the reason it was because it was a DLC for Skyrim, because part of it was to bring back that nostalgia feeling, and they wanted to give it a new location. Okay, and
just like Shivering Isles and Oblivion.
Kind of, yeah, but not that size. Like Dragonborn was the biggest, and I thought it was a lot better than Dawnguard, to be honest.
I don't know, I was kind of disappointed by Dragonborn, but I can see where you're coming. The environment is much better.
Did you not like the music going on there, hearing the Morrowind music and stuff?
That was good. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed going to Solstheim, but I thought it was disappointing in that there wasn't actually much to see in Solstheim, and the story was
not a lot there.
anticlimactic.
But I enjoyed the pirate quest. Remember that quest? The Musket Pirates?
Hang on, which one was that?
Did you ever do that? It was a side quest.
Yeah.
And basically, do you know when you get the ship in to Solstheim? If you go west, and kind of go up a bit, up north a bit, there's like some pirates there just kind of landing, and then you start getting to a fight with them. There's a story of these pirates over here, they're shipping, like skooma and mead and everything illegally into Morrowind through Solstheim, and basically you're trying to stop them and find out more about them. But you go into this dungeon basically into the game where they're keeping everything in, and it was probably the second longest dungeon in the whole of Skyrim, probably behind Labyrinthian. Remember that dungeon?
God, Labyrinthian was huge.
It was so good, wasn't it?
It was soul-destroyingly huge. It was like, I need to heal, but there's nothing here.
Yeah. Is it now my magic is drained? Oh god.
I'm dying, I'm so dying.
Yeah, it's like that. I
don't think I ever did that quest,
It's a great quest. It's a great quest.
I'm going to have to go do it now.
Yeah, and there's loads of little things on Solstheim which I enjoyed. Yeah, it wasn't, I don't know, I actually really enjoyed Dragon Ball when I got it, personally. Like, Dawnguard, when I got it, I was like a little bit kind of let down because I didn't really give a shit about vampire and vampire hunters and all that stuff. Yeah. And I didn't like Serena or really any of the characters a part of it. No. I still did it, but I don't know, I kind of felt the ending was a little bit lackluster as well.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying with that. I mean, you break in and just kill her father, and that's it, done.
Yeah.
Easy, polished off, But to be fair, I kind of preferred Dawnguard over Dragonborn, just for those scenes where you met the Frost Elf.
Okay, yeah.
And you went into that kind of world.
Yeah.
Where the dragons rose up from under the ice, and you were meeting
that was cool.
That was cool. I loved that, just that bit of the entire game. I thought it looked beautiful. It really felt like something a lot different.
But what about all the new dragon shouts?
No, that is true. No. I learned a lot of dragon shouts, but to be fair, I didn't really use any of them.
Do you know?
No, because I never bring companions. Except for my wife, except for wifey.
Who's your wife?
Oh, a mage, dark elf from the college.
Oh, okay.
Relina.
Nah, me is Ayla from the companions.
Yeah, I would have done.
I need some werewolf and werewolf action.
That's going to be a hairy baby. No, it was either her or Mjol the lioness from Riften.
Oh. What? Anyway, let's talk about more Oblivion.
Sorry. Sometimes I like a bit of, a big woman. I like that.
That's some junk in the trunk. Anyway, let's talk about more Oblivion.
Yeah, sorry.
So, when I first played Morrowind, I played it about 30 hours in. I played about 30 hours because I just basically did the main story, didn't really explore the land, I just wanted to know the main story and finish it. And I know that you can finish the game in, I think you can actually finish it in like 7 minutes if you know all the little side things and everything. But it took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours to walk from location to location each time. Because do you know there's that jumping spell in Morrowind? I don't know if you know this.
Yes, where you can like jump and you can hover a little bit off the ground.
You can hover, but you can jump like across the map. Like
really?
literally, yeah, like literally. That was like really the Mages Guild of Silk Striders. You know them giant cockroaches?
Mm.
They were like the forms of fast travel, and literally you could. There was a wizard in the sky, and it fall, and you get this message saying and then you click OK, and then the wizard would just drop down, and you get this spell off in the jumping spell, and you could literally jump from one end of the map to Solstheim. It's that powerful.
Yeah, no, that reminds me of something I saw in Skyrim actually. I was walking through, and this guy was doing a spell, wasn't he? I don't know if you saw this. He charged it up and he went flying up in the air and he goes, "It worked! It worked! Oh my god, it didn't work!" Yeah, I think that was that callback to it, or because he found like a note on his body.
Probably, yeah.
From what I understand, that happens like at the start of the game, though, doesn't it? I mean,
it does, but no. Well, it happens at any time you cross that location.
Right.
So yeah, you can just get that at any random point.
So how much magic do you need to actually do this spell? Because it's huge.
It's a ring. It doesn't use magicka.
It's a ring.
Yeah, that's how kind of magic works. In the, like you had a magicka bar, so you could use your classic spells like firebolt, flames, and things like that. Yeah. But you also had like ring of healing, or basically you'd have ring, and then you press like C to use enchantment on the ring. So then basically like your character would read it off without using magicka, and then it would just fly basically. So like magic was like a different element of the game, but in More Oblivion, it uses magicka because it's using the Oblivion style. You get a spell, you cast it with C, and one thing that's really got me by surprise is this game is, in my opinion, more jam-packed than Skyrim and Oblivion. For stuff to do.
I was going to ask you this because it was on an older console. So how is that?
There's stuff everywhere. We're like going into dungeons. Like the dungeons aren't as big of a size, but the stories about the people in them dungeons, like you'll find a book. Like in Skyrim, what I loved is going to hunting camps and then saying like finding a book, finding his journal, and you say, "Oh, there's some bears." Just down the road, and they've got good pelts on us. So I'm going to go fight them and take the pelts. And then you just be walking down the road and you find the bears. And you see that hunter, fighting them. Sometimes he'd die, sometimes he wouldn't. And then you beat the bears. They'd be like, "Yeah, thanks for helping me. I'm going to get these pelts back and tan them." You're like, "No problem, bud." And he's got a lot of that in this game. And probably it gets that and turns it up to 11. It's got a lot more of it and kind of goes a lot more in detail, which I really like.
Spinal Tap reference.
Sorry.
Spinal Tap reference.
Yeah, and he does it really, really well in the sense, if you're referring to stuff that it's got nothing to do with, like for instance, one of the Mages Guild quests is going into, going into this, this cave, and there's this guy who's, using necromancy and freeing slaves, and slavery is legal in Morrowind.
Yes, of course, yeah, because it's Dark Elf territory. Yeah.
Arseholes. But yeah, so
I'm sorry. Right?
So you basically going in and stopping these and stopping them using this kind of like necromage bullshit, and then you read one of those journals and then they talk about infiltrating this camp, which is like this imperial cult, which has got nothing to do with the Mages Guild or really anything you haven't done for like 10 hours, which is at the other end of the map. And you're like, so these two things kind of link, and you like put things into your brain which you wouldn't recognise if you didn't go around and explore more. So if you're playing it like I am, the nerdiest way possible, then you're gonna have a great time. Great time. Like, if you're the kind of guy who reads every book, picks up every little thing, searches the walls for all little clues and everything, it's just, I don't know, I'm just loving it. I'm loving every minute of it, and it keeps all that stuff from Morrowind. How you can literally ask about anything to any character, because there's no voice acting for most of the stuff. There is voice acting, but they don't read every answer like they do in Oblivion and Skyrim. Yeah, there's a lot of reading, so you can ask them about a lot more stuff because
you don't have to worry about
covering it all. Exactly, yeah. So there's literally a huge list you can ask people about, and is just going around exploring the cities, and I've installed more mods to make it look pretty and everything, and I'm getting around 90 to 100 frames a second, so it runs.
You're getting how much?
90 to 100, because it's a 2002 game.
Christ almighty!
Yeah,
that must be like huge speed. That's going to be like seeing through time.
Yeah, it just feels really, really smooth. Like I don't know. It's not really the first game which I played where I can truly, truly notice how much frame rate can impact a game.
Yeah.
Because I'm not someone who really cares about that stuff.
Yeah.
If it's a game that comes out and it runs at 15 frames a second and it's a good game, I'll still enjoy it. I'm not someone who gets picky about it. I'm not Total Biscuit, Whereas
the frame rate police.
Yeah. To be fair though, for some people, that care about that stuff, on PC, it's worthwhile for them, games that can't run it. But having getting a bow and pulling it. And it just feels so smooth. It feels like it looks real. It looks weird as fuck. But spears in the game and everything. It's all this different stuff which I'm not used to. And actually walking around Morrowind and seeing this gloomy setting, and actually no one liking you in the world. NPCs saying like, "Oh, if we were more friends, then I wouldn't like it." You get along more more with the foreigners because the Dark Elves don't like you because they don't like foreigners in the game, which is something that I thought they did really well in Dragonborn. Going to Solstheim. Talking to the Dark Elves, they hated you.
Well, they didn't hate me.
Well, you was a Dark Elf, weren't you? So yeah, but I was a Wood Elf, and they wouldn't talk to you. A lot of them just wouldn't talk to you, and I thought that was a great reference. And I'm nowhere near done yet. I'm Legoland out there, which is what I call every Wood Elf. I'm starting the legacy again, and I did a backstory for my character. And basically, the reason why I was imprisoned was because I was actually in Hammerfell with on some business for the Armoury Dominion, and I got frisky with the Jarl's daughter, and
oh, fantastic!
One too happy. So
I can imagine. I can understand the Jarl would not be happy.
Yeah, so I'm continuing to play the game. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna start Oblivion again as a Wood Elf, and then go on to Skyrim because it's been a while since I've last played Skyrim.
Yeah, me too. I just tend to revisit my old profile. I haven't really started a new game until... I tried One Life Skyrim, but I put it on easy, so I never died, so it was a bit boring.
Yeah. Because I think what I'm going to do for the new one is something that I haven't done before, go full exclusive mage. Like, literally only thing I can use is magic.
Oh wow! Okay,
I think
that should be interesting.
I'm thinking of giving that a go when I go into, because I've always done a guy who uses a warrior but can also use a bow, a guy who uses magic but also uses a bow and a one-handed weapon when it gets a bit too hard. But
so basically, a guy who uses anything and everything.
Well, no, but I would restrict myself with some things. Like I'd be like, okay, you're not using, you can't use two-handed weapons because I'm a guy who loves warhammers. I'm a guy who generally enjoys using. Going into there and just annihilating shit. Even with one character, I used, no arms at all, nothing. I just used my fists, and some of the kill cams are great. It's like you'll choke slam a guy. And stuff
they
like
are.
That.
Yeah, they are pretty cool.
So
like judo throwing people and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But one thing that's always bothered me about Oblivion and Skyrim is, in particular, is when you walk into a dungeon. Invariably, it goes. Someone will say, "Can you go and find this person for me?" You'll walk into a dungeon, and invariably, you will discover that person is dead.
Oh yeah, no,
at the end of the dungeon. Does that happen a lot in Morrowind, or is there a lot more variety?
Hell of a lot more variety.
Really?
One of the ones that I found was there was an Argonian, and the guy's sister was. It was like she's been captured. I don't know where she is. What's happened? So you predict, okay, they're going to be in a dungeon. They're dead, and it doesn't point on the map where they are, but you've got to trace clues, kind of like a detective would. Find bits of clothing, and then you see blood on a tree and things like that, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? And basically, it's like a dark elf cult, which is like keeping Argonians in this torture chamber. Yeah, and you find her there, skinny as anything. Like literally, you can see her ribs and everything. It's fucked, and he's like shit, and it's like this cult. It's torturing all of us. It's torturing our guys. They've got all these different places around the map, and you take all these places out, and there's families, and there's like this Argonian situation, hiding underground. We're going to escape back out to Blackmarsh, which then goes back to Blackmarsh and starts all this stuff that's happening now. The Argonians are going to rebel against the thing. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's like for stuff like that, it's great, and I'm truly loving every minute of it. And I'm so thankful that the guy over at Test Renewal were able to bring it over to new engine, and I can't wait for them to do it for Skyrim, because they're doing Skywind and they're doing Sky Oblivion, and so once they've got all that, man, it's just going to be so much.
Yeah,
so
what are they going to do when the newest Elder Scrolls comes out? I mean,
move on to the
that's
next
going to
one,
kind of put a spanner in the works, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's... And plus if it's on a new engine, Jesus, because it'll take so long, but...
That would be pretty... Yeah, that would be
It's what they're doing, it, like, and, you know, More Oblivion, it's been out now for about 2 years. I didn't know it was out this long. And I'm so happy that I found it, you know, it's really opened up a new area for test to me. I'd love them to do it for Arena and Daggerfall, but I think they're too old.
A little bit. I mean, Arena is 8-bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's like Minecraft graphics.
Yeah, it is. But I was actually reading up on stuff for Arena, and it was the and I was looking up an article on Todd Howard, and his very first game where he actually leaded the team was actually a Terminator game in '93, I think it was, and that was the very, very first game where you could control where your person looked with the mouse. That was the very first game, and that's like revolutionary. That's what everyone does now.
Yeah, that's like a staple.
Yeah,
in gaming, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I didn't know he did that or anything. And I was just, you know, reading up on the development of Arena, of how it was originally meant to be this, you know, kind of like arena fighting game. And then they found but they had side quests in there, and then they found out that the side quests are actually more fun than the actual arena gameplay. So they scrapped the arena stuff and took another year to make this fully fledged open world game. But all these like artwork and everything was already printed for Arena, so they kept the name Arena, but gave it the tag title The Elder Scrolls to make it sound more fantasy.
It does make it sound more fantasy, to be fair.
So, More Oblivion is really kind of all I've been playing this week. That, and I've been playing a little bit more of Fallout 4, you know, still trudging away, but I've just been having more fun with More Oblivion, personally.
Yeah, understandably. I mean, given a choice between playing Elder Scrolls and Fallout...
For me, it's Elder Scrolls. Like, I know for a lot of people, I know we've got a new subscriber who's actually been, called Crystal, who's actually been going around commenting on a lot of our videos, and he was like, have you played Fallout 4? Have you played any of these Fallout games? I was like, yeah, I played Fallout 4. I've been looking to give New Vegas a go, and I was like, but I prefer the Elder Scrolls personally, and he was talking about how much he prefers Fallout and everything going into it, and I was like, you know, whatever floats your boat. But anyway, let's go into Game of the Year awards.
Do we have to?
He was good, though. He was good.
No, it was good. It was good.
He was the best one.
I'm sour that I lost.
Well,
for a brief moment, I believed I might have a chance, and then it would cruel reality took it away from me.
Yeah, so we may have to do this again next year.
Yep.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I get my ticket to Star Wars for free. Yay! But have a bit more of a competition, you know, for the fans.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I know everyone got the free beta key. I haven't got any left. All 50 were taken. But you know, I don't know. We could have maybe done that this year, I suppose. You know, go, what are the odds? Nothing at all. But anyway, let's talk about. Should we talk about Witcher winning it first?
Yes, let's do that.
I was relieved, Jeff. I'm talking directly to you now. If he didn't win it, we would have had problems. We would have had problems because I was saying this before. You know, like people were talking about, you know, MGS5 deserves it, Fallout deserves it. When in my eyes, it was kind of like a one-horse race in my view. You know, The Witcher I thought deserved it hands down. Hands down. You know, Fallout 4. You know, I know it's been a great game and I've really enjoyed it, but no one's really talking about it anymore, which I found crazy. I'm not hearing a lot about it. Like, compared to Skyrim, when I heard like really nothing but Skyrim for about a year, you know, all you could hear was Skyrim, like new Skyrim gameplay, Skyrim mods and everything, whereas with Fallout, I don't know, it's kind of starting to be forgotten about.
Dropped off the radar.
Yeah, I'm hearing more about Just Cause than I am about Fallout.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm very happy that Witcher wins Game of the Year, and they've released the new screenshots for the new location on. This
is in the newest expansion. Isn't it?
Yeah, for the new expansion. It's going to come out within the first 6 months of the year.
Okay.
They haven't, and it's a new location, and it's this bright kind of. It looks kind of like Disneyland. Speaking of Disneyland, by the way. Yeah. I forgot to tell you this before the show started, but if we ever get 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, because we're with Maker and we're with Disney, we get free entry to Disneyland and Disney World.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Please make my dream come
Yeah.
true. 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
On YouTube, that is, not on the podcast, but on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. On YouTube. Do it
Yeah.
now. Do it now. Stop. Just pause the podcast. We'll wait.
Yes, I was just last week. I was just looking through the terms, some of the bonuses we get because we're with Disney. And by the way, have you ever seen Captain America? Fuck DC. It's the way to go. Star Wars Battlefront. What a great game. I was just thinking about we shit on a lot of DC stuff.
You do.
Yeah. And a lot of Marvel.
Evening Disney. How you doing?
Yeah.
Hey Disney. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it's like, I love Walt. That film about Mary Poppins, great film. Wink.
Yeah, totally.
Elizabeth Banks, truly revolutionary performance.
Oh yeah. And we talked about the Incredibles earlier.
Yeah.
No, not a patch on Disney.
No. Have I ever talked about this show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? What a great show! It's a thrilling ride.
Oh, phenomenal, isn't it? Oh, God, no, fuck Arrow. Who wants to talk about Arrow?
What is Arrow? I don't even know what it is. Arrow? I don't care when I've got Jessica Jones in my life.
I know, Jessica Jones. Oh my God. The sex.
And I know, and it's got a strong female character. It's not like Supergirl.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Fuck Supergirl. That's like watching Devil Wears Prada with laser eyes.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? Anyway, I'm very excited for Jungle Book coming back next year. Wink. Wink, wink. Anyway. But yeah, it's a game. That's got half the team as really anyone else. Comparing this to Kojima Productions and Konami. Look at the size team they had. They had thousands of people working on Metal Gear. And I know that Witcher 3 got delayed a couple of times, which was a shame, but the game turned out one of my favourite games I've ever played. Yeah. And they've said in the interview that to not make a Witcher 4 would be unfair, but they have said in the past that it's not going to be Geralt. So I'm not going to spoil the end of Witcher 3. But anyway.
Oh no! Wait, no, he can't. Wait, when do the expansions take place?
So after the Witcher, kind of like during, they can take place during the game or after you finish the main story. You can carry on playing the main story after the game's finished.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to say what happens in the main story.
Well, what happens in your main story? I mean, because there's 17 different endings.
But still, though, that someone could get that ending. I'm not going to say it because it's still a big thing, and there is similarities. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And yeah. Anyway. I truly feel like this deserved it. It improved from Witcher 2. On some areas, I still feel like potions in Witcher 2 were better because all that preparation and everything, setting traps and stuff like that. I thought that was better than the Witcher 3 because it was more streamlined. But this fully open world, the difference in locations, how different Skellige was to Velen, going to Kaer Morhen, the interesting characters you could meet. It was truly an incredible game.
All right. Well, from what you've said, from what you told me. I am sold. I am sold. Witcher 3 deserves Game of the Year. I mean, the reason I said Fallout for Game of the Year, I did say Fallout, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
I did.
Well, that was your prediction. I don't know if that was actually your Game of the Year. We're not going to say that. We're not going to say that until the last episode of the year when we do our bullshit year recap.
Oh, excellent. I'll have time to think of a convenient cover story.
Yeah.
I was undercover. I was working for CD Projekt Red. I was just trying to keep, downplaying the Game of the Year award so that when they came out and won it, you knew.
Won 3 awards as well. Won 3 awards. They won, Best RPG, Best...
I think Best Development Team.
Sorry?
I thought they won Best Developer.
Best Developer as well, and Game of the Year. So they won 3 awards.
Yeah, and from what you've described, all of them absolutely deserved.
Yeah.
So the reason I said Fallout, and I think I said this back then, was because they know how to make a game that people like.
Yeah,
they do.
And you might sound like I shit on Fallout, and that video I made, last week of the, what testers can learn from Fallout 4. It may sound like I didn't enjoy the game. I'm loving Fallout 4. It was great. The world's great. I'm loving walking around, hearing more things about the lore and everything. It's just that I did find it a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. I can understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah. So totally, yeah. But hats off to Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, well played. But what do you feel like about Fallout not winning anything?
That is a disappointment, because I do think it has been overshadowed by Witcher. That is very true, and it has also, to a lesser extent, been overshadowed by Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Not just because it was a fantastic game when it came out, but also because of the controversy. And I think you pointed out, and I completely agree, that Kojima Productions could have won an award just purely based off that, just to show solidarity. But to not win anything, I'm quite surprised by that. I mean, well, I don't know.
Well, let's go through it.
Experience,
But, he didn't win Game of the Year, and he didn't deserve it. Fallout Shelter didn't deserve Best Mobile or Handheld Game.
No, it certainly didn't.
Best Score or Soundtrack, they gave it to Ori and the Blind Forest.
Really wish I'd done some more research on that game, because it sounds like it did quite well.
Yeah. Well, Her Story is the real winner of the night, to be honest. They won the joint most awards of the night. But it didn't. Well, it could have won Best Score. It was great. It was, incorporating that kind of 50-star music was great.
Yeah.
Best RPG, it's not an RPG, it's an FPS.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And that's kind of what they were nominated for, actually. For awards. What do they... I don't really think they deserve any of them, to be honest with you.
No, they don't really earn any of them, I don't think, because...
Like, best role-playing game, you've got to actually give it to an RPG. It should have been nominated for best shooter. It should have been.
Yeah, but I think by that point, it's kind of... Fallout is a hybrid. I mean, like you're saying, it's not an RPG.
It is a hybrid, but Destiny is a kind of a hybrid.
Well, not really, because, I mean, you've got much less interaction in Destiny, much less ability to explore. I mean, with Destiny, they put you in dungeons, you go around shooting things, you get loot, or don't.
It's just what do they categorise it as under best shooter? Is it, exclusively, set into matches like all the other nominations in that, or like Call of Duty, Halo 5?
I don't really know. I think you're right, and I think this was Fallout's big disadvantage. Was it could be either. It could be very loosely classed as an RPG.
Yeah.
Or it could be a shooter.
Yeah.
And I think in the end that counted against it, because you couldn't really put it in the shooter category, and it didn't do enough to earn an RPG.
No.
So I think if the Elder Scrolls had come along, if it had been an Elder Scrolls game, it would have been solidly in the RPG category.
No, definitely, yeah, because... that's one of my biggest worries about the next one, if they're going to streamline them RPG elements, which I really hope they don't. One of my favourite parts of Skyrim was, getting that one perk point when you first time you level up.
Yeah. And
looking up to the stars thinking, where the fuck did I put this in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really hope they don't. I really hope they keep it as is. And to refer back to your video, plug again, there are so many streamlined options from Fallout 4 that they just have got to get rid of.
Yeah.
They have just got to go, no, we're not. There is a lot of cross-pollination, but in this sense, no, we don't take that.
Not for Elder Scrolls. Like, it could get away with it with the game that kind of Fallout is, with this new one, but if it does that in Elder Scrolls, I'd be a little bit disheartened. A little bit, Okay, but should we move? Have you got anything more to add?
No, my grandma's just got here. So, on that note, can we pause for about half an hour or so?
Yeah, sure.
Right, I'll give you a call back.
Alright, see you.
Cheers. See you in a bit.
Okay, so let's go on to the next topic. This is about Elder Scrolls Online at the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
The competition.
And the big carrot that they've got to bring gamers back.
Yeah. And, Pete Hines was doing a little interview, basically ESO. Basically, there was a lot of flight, I think they were paid quite a bit by different companies to advertise the games. Like, every ad break, they'd always show ESO.
Yeah.
And every 10 minutes it seems like I was going to iJustine, who was interviewing some developer. He was like, what do you like? Do you like Star Wars Battlefront? And he's like, yeah, like Darth Vader. And I was like, oh, she's my favourite too. That's basically why she was there. And yeah, no, there was just all you could see was just people in the background playing Battlefront all the time. But
that's a bit of a plug.
Yeah, but anyway, Pete Hines was he come up and said, if you play ESO and fill out the form and log on between the Game Awards and the 10th of January, you can win $1 million. And depending on some states, if you live in New York, Florida, and I think it's Minnesota, you can't win it because there's some weird state laws. And
you can't enter?
No, because like there's some weird state laws where you can't do it, and he says like apparently it's really hard to actually pay people $1 million. But if you're in Britain, you can, and most European countries. It's all on the ZeniMax website.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like everyone was. He come across to me. He was like, "Hey, anyone want to play our game? We'll give you $1 million to play it. Anyone there?
Please,
please,
somebody.
Anyone? Hello." Like,
somebody pick up my game. I'm so lonely, and there are wolves after me.
This is just one last shot to get some people to actually play the damn game.
Yes, but was it not effective? Because what was the first thing you did?
First thing I did, I installed the game, played it for about 5 minutes, and just left.
But you filled out the form, didn't you?
I filled out the form, yeah. Like, this to me, because like they put a serious amount of money into this game. The rumour says that this game costs £140 million to make.
Holy shit!
MMOs cost a lot of money, and yeah, it got that money back. You know, I know it sold 7 million copies on launch, which was huge. You know, I think it was the biggest selling launch day for an MMO ever, more than Star Wars: The Old Republic. Which is quite remarkable, because it was so hyped, and the reason why is because they actually had a good game. A year and a half before the game came out.
But still, a good game.
Yeah, it's like... I got asked this question, because we talked a little bit about MMOs last week and about Elder Scrolls Online, and Horty45 asked me, you may have said this before, but what was your problem with the Elder Scrolls Online and Chatting for the Win? And...
Good man.
And... the main problem with it for me was because they had this Elder Scrolls game, but online, in the MMO setting, like it was, described to be. And everyone went to this playtest and loved it. But it seems like they're kind of going back and forth, because, in the beta it kind of then became more MMO. And then we played at Eurogame, and it was very much Elder Scrolls then. The game we played at Eurogame was better than the game it released, for Christ's sake.
Well,
and we played it, it was very much Elder Scrolls then, and then they got stuck in this area where, what should we do, and somewhere the MMO side, won.
Yeah.
And it became this MMO with, this kind of single player emphasis, where it kind of became pointless to group. And it was a boring game, the combat was floaty, questing, having the fucking quest markers above the head to go, you can get a quest, it was just like, no, why? And you can say like, oh, you can turn them quest markers off, but it kind of locks you off from areas of the game. Like, you can't enter dungeons if you don't have a certain quest. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's Elder Scrolls, isn't it? Great.
Yeah, that kind of detracts from the quote-unquote freedom of the game.
The rubber banding, where it kind of keeping you in a specific area. The problem, it was cool to, read some of the books, they very much got the Elder Scrolls, lore in the books, but there was times when they broke it for no reason, and, I'm not someone who used to get completely arsey over it, because I'm a firm guy who believes, lore is something that serves the game.
Yeah.
It can be changed at will, to make a game more entertaining. I've got no problem with that, with this all Alliance War stuff. Do you know there's only one book in the whole Elder Scrolls series before that said, the Daggerfall, Covenant, Ebonheart Pact, and Armour, Dominion fought against each other in wars before Time Septum come around. That's all it says. And this all that, I thought, okay, we'll implement this as our PvP. Which should be fair, no problem with, best part of the game, the PvP and everything. These massive player battles, it was truly fun to take part in, and I really enjoyed it. It's just that every other part of it was absolute crap. And I don't know, I've got friends who play ESO and they truly like it because, they play it as an MMO. And if I ever give it a shot, because I didn't give it a shot back then, I just installed it to make sure I was in the competition. Installed it and just went on it, ran around for a couple of minutes, killed a couple of things, and just like, okay then, let's go. Let's leave.
I bet you the game will be. I bet you the prize will be based on like playtime or something like that.
Apparently, it's not. It's a raffle.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least you tried.
Yeah. So I'm in the raffle.
Yay.
Yeah. So, I've got. Well, how do you see the game? From someone out.
Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
I see it Very much as an MMO, actually. Very much as a kind of, when I'm watching gameplay, okay, you've got the first-person perspective that looks like Skyrim. Graphically, it looks like Skyrim.
Yeah.
But I see level markers above people's heads.
Yeah.
And I see health bars, and I see names, and I see people running around all over the place, and that just makes it feel like an MMO to me. And I don't like that about MMOs, and I don't really like MMOs that much.
Yeah.
So that puts me off instantly. Also, the kind of in terms of like complete gameplay, I don't know whether it's still the case, whether it still like locks you out from like questing with other people for like bizarre reasons.
They have fixed that. They have fixed that.
Yeah. But it's just it's other things like just walking into dungeons and watching people run in all around you and it doesn't feel much like an Elder Scrolls game from that perspective.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like if anyone ever thinks of playing it, because like I've got a friend at home who has an Xbox One and was like, I'm going to get Elder Scrolls Online because I just need Elder Scrolls, and I was like, it's nothing like Elder Scrolls. It's not. It's an MMO in an Elder Scrolls setting. That's the way you've got to look at it. It's Rift or Age of Conan or any other crappy WoW clone that came out. It's that, but in Elder Scrolls. Yeah. And if you really like all them WoW clones and you like Elder Scrolls lore, this is the perfect game for you. But if you specifically like that, if you think in this game go like, there's been so many times in Skyrim when I've been in dungeons and I've thought, it'd be so cool if my friend was here.
Yeah.
Because that's apparently what the game is like, and I'm not saying this because the people who actually come out and said this stuff are people who are not members of the press. Well, technically they are, but the YouTubers, the podcasters, they're like us, and there wasn't on the Cinemax's payroll, and they actually, people who like Jesse Cox said it, Mark from Guild Umbra, Force, he went and played it. He said it was great. The guys at Elder Scrolls Off the Record, which is a great podcast and everyone should listen to it, they said it, and they had guild leaders who went there and said also, it's something different that's setting the MMOs apart, and it's my biggest letdown of all ever. And if I was ever going to play it again, it would be with the friends that I've got to play it now, and just to give, if they ever persuade me, but it's not going to be for a while yet because I'm just having too much playing the proper Elder Scrolls games. But I thank the Lord that it didn't tarnish this series' reputation, because I thought it was in serious harm of doing that.
Yeah.
Because everyone was just like, yeah, but Bethesda didn't make it, and I was like, thank fuck.
Also, I think name-wise, it was a good kind of call, because it's just like ESO, Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
It's like people aren't going to go any further than just seeing ESO. Oh, I wonder what's that about. They check it out, they find out it's part of the Elder Scrolls universe.
Yeah.
But they know it's not going to be the same game. Whereas with something like Skyrim, you have people know that by Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, or the Elder Scrolls V : Skyrim.
Yeah, but everyone calls it Skyrim. Everyone calls them Oblivion, Skyrim, and Morrowind, don't they? Arena and Daggerfall.
Yeah. So to most people out there, they're not gonna talk in terms of Elder Scrolls 6. They're going to talk probably in terms of Skyrim 2 or the next Skyrim or the next, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it didn't really do much harm to the actual brand, I don't think, but it certainly did not make a good game from the sounds of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think that's all we've got to say on it.
Yeah. So, should we talk about Konami and Kojima?
Let's do that. This should be an interesting topic.
Yeah, so, what do you think about it all?
Well, I think it's pretty easy to say where I think the Game Awards and those kind of people, where they stand on it. Given what happened, I keep forgetting the guy's name. It's Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah. He was fairly open about his support for Kojima. I mean, you couldn't get any more open than that, really.
He was kind of by surprise that he just could have come out and said it. He was like, fair play to him. And I think how the crowd just all went boo.
Yeah. Like, they knew. They knew what was going on. They're doing a good job, I think, at the minute of painting Konami as pantomime villains. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to bring Kojima back.
Yeah.
He's gone. They're probably going to go off and he's going to form his own studio or something like that.
Kickstarter or something.
Projects, yeah. And that's fine. But Konami have kicked him out,
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything more we can say on it.
No, well, it's just been back and forth. It's been the story of the year, and it really
has. Yeah, it's been a real controversy, and sometimes it can be difficult to see why, because in any other kind of circumstance, it would be a case of the company has let this developer or this studio go.
But it's all been weird. It's all been
but the way they've handled it, Konami in particular have handled it, it's been really like 1984 Big Brother kind of stuff.
Yeah, but then they're all like, they're all like, but you can't mention Kojima. He's not on the box of the game. Oh, he still works here, guys. Yeah, he's on a break. Yeah. We had a end of game holiday because he's off on holiday and he's going to go and come back and make more games for us. And everyone was just like, wait, what?
but you said Kojima was out.
Yeah, and now
his lawyer or a lawyer from Konami telling him that he couldn't go to the Game Awards because of what it would do. That is pretty sketchy.
Yep.
So I think we've still not got to the bottom of this, really. I still really don't think people understand what's going on fully. There is still things that I think we just don't understand. It's probably something going on that we just don't get. I don't know. What do you think?
It's a weird scenario all going on. It sounds like to me, there was an argument. Kojima, I think he wanted more money to make the game or anything, because people were saying it was rushed towards the end, to finish the game, and Konami was like, okay, no, we're just getting this game out the door. It's been too long. You spent too much money,
and it was a long development cycle, wasn't it?
And then there was, I think, they released a bloody $30 demo just to be able to try and bloody fund the game, and
2 hours.
Yeah, and there must have been a big argument where Kojima was just like, okay, I'm leaving. They'll be like, I know you're under contract, and he was like, okay, well, I'll pay to terminate it or something, and then they've just been sour since then. That's what makes sense to me, but it's just been a weird, really weird situation.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah.
It really has.
And this wouldn't happen. I don't think like this has happened in any industry that I can think of.
No.
Someone who's been at that good service, even if they're leaving like a really bad business way or a bit of a fallout, usually they give them like a bit of credit, to try and sweeten the patch or something, not allow them to go to award shows and stuff. Yeah,
and it's not done anything for Konami's reputation.
It's done awful for Konami's reputation.
Yeah, I mean, now, exactly as we said before, Konami is now the pantomime villain.
They are.
Also, anything they try, anything they come out with now, anything they say, is just mocked, laughed at. Like their it was Konami, wasn't it, who said they were going to expand into mobile gaming instead?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and since then they've just been just mocked by the gaming community in general. So they're really not looking too good at the minute, Konami.
Yeah.
And I think Kojima has probably started this, I would think.
Yeah. Anyway, should we move on?
We should.
We've talked enough about Kojima and Konami in this podcast.
We have. We love you, Kojima.
Should we skip her story in Psychonauts 2?
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about Bethesda and Rocksteady, and then should we go into community?
Yeah, there's nothing really there to say, is there?
Yeah, Psychonauts 2 is announced, it's happening. Give Tim Schafer money if you want to. Her story won a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Good on her story, good on Psychonauts 2. I'm sure James Willems from Funhouse will be very, very happy.
Yeah.
So there we go. Anyway, there we go. On to Rocksteady and... Yes, all that.
Should we go Bethesda?
Yes. Let's start with Bethesda.
Bethesda's opened a new studio in Montreal.
Yeah.
The first time they've opened a Bethesda Game Studios, this is the first time they've opened a second branch in their history. doubling the size of their team, are hiring quite a lot of new, game devs and everything to go into that Montreal office, and they're going to be working in unison with the office at Maryland.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Lad, to me, this is all good news.
Yeah, this is good news. I think you're right, because what that allows them to do, for the moment anyway, as long as they don't go opening up more and more studios like, Ubisoft style, so they've got studio everywhere so they can all be working on different games at different times. But
they've got fucking thousands of people working on the Assassin's Creed games, all here, there, and fucking everywhere. They've got like 50 studios working on them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Assassin's Creed franchise release schedule is set for the next 10 to 20 years. Yeah. But the thing with them having two studios, it means they can share development resources or share development time, which means potentially we get games faster.
Yeah.
They have more room to work on different things, like the Killer developing a new engine for the Elder Scrolls game, or for their games in general.
Yeah. Well, have you heard the rumours of about Fallout?
No? What's that?
There's rumours that Fallout 4 was going to be the last one. Rumours
that Fallout 4 was going to be the last
one that Bethesda Game Studios make.
The last Fallout game Bethesda make. Oh. Well, I wouldn't put it past them, because although the franchise has been successful, it's not really been as well received. I'm talking Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 have not been as well received as, for example, Fallout New Vegas.
Especially for the the old school Fallout fans.
Yeah,
One and two.
Yeah, because obviously Fallout New Vegas was taken on by Obsidian, who created the Fallout franchise in the first place. So, if they were to work out some kind of deal where they, similar to how they did in New Vegas, publish the game, but give Obsidian the rights to make it, then that could be a great game.
Yeah, because that way, Fallout fans are getting good games, Bethesda get the money, and they can make the Elder Scrolls. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. For now, that's just a rumor, isn't it? Really,
it's a rumor. Yeah, there's really, not really much to say on it, to be honest. But
good news. They've opened a studio. So anyway, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think it's great news they've opened it. Making more likely to make the Elder Scrolls bigger and better. But,
absolutely.
I'm hopeful. In a way, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a new IP. Maybe after the next Elder Scrolls game, I wouldn't be too surprised, because if you're a company, you don't really want to making the same two games every cycle, do you? The same series.
No, not really. You don't want to be known as that kind of development team that only makes that franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I can see him opening up something different, which I wouldn't be surprised with.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. That would be quite good if they did.
Yeah, but also, I'd be more than happy to put all the focus on Elder Scrolls. Keep making it.
Yeah, me too.
People go like, but like you need this, certain amount of time to make it. But if they released an Elder Scrolls game every year in the same, even if it was the exact same as Skyrim, I think I'd still play it.
Yeah, if they just released like Skyrim 2.0, and just instead of releasing a new game, they just released patches.
Yeah,
just like to make the game bigger and better every time.
I was like, I have always said, on the show, I'm against that. But with Elder Scrolls, I couldn't give a shit because I'm that interested in the lore. Yeah, that's the main thing for me. That's really my favourite part of the game. If everything that comes up to it, I'm so invested in the universe and the world. All the other stuff is secondary, and just get working on it. It sounds like with this opening studio, they're already underway. This break, I honestly thought this break would be at least a couple of months, but it looks like it was a week. Because apparently, according to an interview with Bethesda Game Studio with Todd Howard, that on Wired.com, still a thing apparently. But apparently they're underway making the next project. Plus, they've got people working on the DLCs as well. So
fantastic. But it's also interesting choice of location, Montreal, because you've got a lot of.
You've got a lot there. Ubisoft's got offices there. EA have.
Yep.
Square Enix have got the West. Sorry.
Funny story. Do you know one of my great uncles works for EA?
Does he?
Yeah, I just thought I'd put that in there.
Cool. What do you...
I think it's EA anyway. don't know, but I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does. I just know he works for EA. I think he's probably one of those kind,
Oh, have I told you that George has made a game?
publicist. Oh yeah, has he?
Yeah,
What's that?
for his. And this is our friend, by the way. He's wanted to be a game developer. It's for his course, his assignment for uni.
Yeah.
So he had to make a game. It's just a quick little thing, and he made a piece. He's like a rip off of Flappy Bird, and it was like Star Wars.
Oh no!
No, it's not. It's not bad. He's only doing it for his assignment. He's not releasing it or anything.
Oh, thank God!
Yeah, yeah. It's like a rip off of Flappy Bird. He asked me, he was like, "What way can I do a rip off of Flappy Bird, but in Star Wars?" And I was like, "I don't know. Do the bikes on that planet?"
Actually, to be fair, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, "Do the bikes on the planet?" He was like, "Not bad." And he has been showing me gameplay of it, and I was like, "Bethesda are hiring. Show him that game. I'll take you in day one." And he gave it a go and he died, and I was like, "How does it feel to suck at your own game?" But yeah,
good old George. Good old George.
Yeah, but yeah, he's carrying on with that and everything. So yeah, and I'm happy that Bethesda are expanding. I know some people have complained saying it's been this studio family feel, to make it, but
Yeah.
I think that's kind of overdone, because I think if you look at all the making of that Bethesda have done, Todd Howard always says, "I don't even know half the stuff that goes into the game because it's so big." So I don't see this as a problem at all, to be honest with you.
No, me neither. Me neither. And,
Todd Howard's obviously going to be Skyping them a lot, giving them talks over Skype.
And you can talk about family for sure, like a family feel, but at the end of the day, their job is to make money and make games. That's it, really. That's
and
all
more
they're in
people, bigger teams. I think this is all good news, to be fair. I was very happy when I saw this.
Me too.
I think it's going to speed up the release of Elder Scrolls 6. I
hope so.
Maybe I think it could be from 6 months to a year. It could speed it up by, because don't forget, it's doubling the size of the team.
Yeah, and also doubling the knowledge. I mean, because these aren't just fresh faces. Most of them are people who have quite a well kind of versed background. I think the lead kind of guy at Montreal, at the studio Montreal, he used to work for Volition Games, who coincidentally enough made the Saints Row series, and and the Red Faction Guerrilla series. So Red Faction series. So there we go.
Yeah, it's all good, all good. So
it is.
Should we last thing on Rocksteady?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so they're looking for new employees. If you've heard this.
Yes, I have. Yes.
And they're looking for employees with multiplayer experience.
Yes, because they are looking like they're going to build an online game.
Either online or an online component to a game.
Yeah.
So it could be like the multiplayer they did for Arkham City.
Was there a multiplayer in Arkham City?
There was.
I know
there
was one in Arkham Origins, but that was like a shooter, wasn't it?
In Arkham City it was kind of like this asymmetrical, 3v2 kind of thing.
Oh,
so
right,
like
how did it work?
It'd be like villains versus heroes. So like two of them would be like Batman and Nightwing or something against like Joker and a couple of others, and they'd be online. And obviously the two would be sneaking around, and it'd just be basically whoever fights and wins. But apparently it was really cool because be able to play as the Joker and stuff, and some of the animation stuff were actually really good. Apparently it was a bit underplayed by people though. Apparently it did deserve to be as little as it did. So
I'd never heard of it. So there we go.
yeah, well, that's the only thing I heard about it. And what do you think about? What would your reaction be if it was going to make an online game?
If it was going to be an online game, I'd be disappointed because after the Arkham series,
you want more single player goodness.
I want more single player. They've proved not only that they can do an open world game, but they can do a superhero game, which up to that point they were kind of struggling with. So I want to see them do superhero. I want to see them do it in the Arkham universe, and I want to see an open world kind of game. And I want to be able to play it single player. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Maybe not Superman. I don't think Superman would work. Even with them, I don't think Superman would work. Possibly Flash, Green Arrow.
I don't know. I think I'd like a Superman one.
I'd like a Superman one, but it's like, could they make it work? Because you've got Superman, who is basically a god. What are you going to upgrade on Superman, I know, I'll change the colour of his laser eyes. That's what I'll do. Or I'll give him body armour. He doesn't need body armour.
You're thinking of, like, character, but I don't know, maybe new fights? Like, I don't know, kung fu moves, I was going to say. I don't know how they'd do it, but...
I tell you what would be really good, is if they made an Arkham Knight spin-off. So you're actually playing as the Arkham Knight.
Okay.
But rather than it just being like a beat-em-up kind of Batman style, it was also a shooter. That'd be awesome. A third-person shooter. I would play that game.
I'd play it.
I can tell you don't agree. But yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about it. I don't know how... Would it take place before they went into Gotham, or during? Or what?
Oh, it would take place after.
But wasn't he kind of diminished?
Who, the Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
Well, no, because after that, he kind of became the Red Hood. He had the red bat symbol painted on his chest in place of the Arkham symbol. And, like, he ran off and disappeared, and then suddenly there was someone down a dark alley who was attacking muggers.
Which I thought was Batman using the Scarecrow shit.
I thought, I don't know, but...
That's what I got from one of the theories, you know, I didn't have a fucking clue what it meant, I was just like...
Yeah, but you see that, yeah, I had no idea what that fucking meant, but that was so ambiguous that it could have been anything. It might have been Jason Todd as the Arkham Knight, as the Red Hood or whatever he's calling himself now. And that would be awesome. And if they took it to, like, a different place, like because they've talked about Keystone, they've talked about Bloodhaven, they've talked about Metropolis, like, in various different ways in, like, the Arkham games.
Yeah.
If they took him to, like, Bloodhaven, for example, and, like, moved him away from Gotham, that would be brilliant.
I don't know, for me, I'd like a different hero. For me.
Yeah.
I'd like
I can see where you're coming from.
It'd be cool, but, you know, like, we've had, 4 Batman games, I've really enjoyed them all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've enjoyed the series.
Mm-hmm.
And, do some stuff with Justice League. That's what, some members of the Justice League or something like that. I just want another superhero game, something different to Batman.
Yeah.
Give Superman a go. If it don't work, it don't work. But
I can understand that. I can understand why they would want to do a different superhero, and...
I'd like an Aquaman game. Aquaman game. Why the fuck
Holy shit! What if they did do an Aquaman game?
And I hate underwater combat, but I'd like it.
Now think about it. They could do they could make the transition from, like, land to sea. So, like, in the water he was significantly stronger.
Yeah.
But on the land, you could have that kind of Batman Arkham style fight system, because Aquaman is basically just a bloke.
Yeah.
On land. So with a trident, that could work. That could also be extremely violent and extremely cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. They could go places with it. I just think they should stay the hell away from Superman. Get a restraining order on Superman.
So if they announced Superman game, would you be disappointed?
Yes.
Would you give? No, but you'd still give it a go.
Oh, absolutely. I would be very wary, because I don't think a Superman game can work. I just can't see it, unless the only way in which I could see it working is if his power got, like, totaled, like, right at the start of the game. They gave you, like, similar to how they did the first Assassin's Creed game. They set you up with all the equipment, basically to show you what you could get, and then had it all taken away from you by the end of the first mission.
Yeah.
If they did that with Superman, right, give him, like, a God mode scene, and then have Lex Luthor depower him somehow with kryptonite or something like that, and after that he had powers more akin to Superboy, being able to just jump really high and having really strength, like being really strong but still being killable, then yeah, I'd be on board. I would be on board.
Okay, so let's go to the community segment. So, do you want to read the first question?
I will. This is from Ulrika V.
I wonder what the V stands for.
So do I. That's so mysterious. You were asked about your goals in the last episode, but I was wondering, what have you learned since you started partaking in online entertainment?
So formal.
And will Shaq for the win? Question mark?
I don't know.
But yes, Will Shaq for the win. That's even better than Shanna for the win, I think.
Yeah.
Will Shaq. That's fantastic.
So since you started partaking in online entertainment. That's how I read that question. What have I learned? I think I've got more to say than you have on this one, so...
Okay, I'll just say it takes more work and more dedication than you think.
Yeah.
I think, because I think when I turn off a YouTube video or when I close it down, I just assume, yeah, they probably did an hour, probably plus an hour editing, taking out the bits that weren't funny, and then, yeah, they uploaded it. That's about 3 hours work, and then they get paid a shitload.
Yeah.
No, they have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And although I haven't been heavily involved in it, I know, Connor, you've been working really hard.
Especially the lore stuff.
Yeah, not just on the actual making of the videos, but also behind the scenes. You know, to introduce us to people and, you know, to just get a bit of publicity out there. It takes a lot more work than I originally gave it credit for. Also, there's an audience out there for everything.
Yeah.
Because
everyone's got different interests.
Yeah, exactly. I think before I ever did this, I just kind of assumed that no one was interested in what I would ever have to say, and that I'll just, you know, just not bother anyone with talking about this kind of thing. But it's nice to kind of know that there are actually some of you out there who do enjoy tuning in to listen to me and Connor talk for a couple of hours.
Talk bullshit, yeah, I know.
Isn't it just heartwarming?
It is,
isn't it beautiful? Anyway,
yeah, it's good, you know, just to get us out here, you know, talk bullshit for 2 hours and people go like, yeah, it's good.
yeah, we like your stuff. Keep it coming. And asking questions as well. I still can't quite get over that, and it's been it's probably 8, 9, 10 weeks, something like that. And people ask questions.
Yeah, we do actually get a lot more than what we put in. It's just that we generally cover most of them in the show. Yeah. And I don't know, a lot of them are crap. Not to offend you, but you know, we get like a lot of like I don't know, things that I think would bore people, and I think, you know, we get a lot of, you know, people talking that, you know, we get a lot of comments saying how they like it when we talk about stuff away from, you know, the actual making of the podcast and things like that. And things like that, and our opinions on games. You know, we're not going to be asking questions like, what's your favourite cup of tea? Which we got asked this week.
Did we really?
Yeah.
My favourite cup of tea is hot chocolate. So there you go.
I don't like tea. So yeah,
no,
see?
I don't like tea, I don't like coffee either.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm a bit of a weird.
I didn't put it in for a reason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is our new thing, not the podcast anymore, it's the tea cast.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or the cough cast.
The cough cast.
Anyway,
for me, what I've learned is having a target audience is quite important. You know, you can't just put random videos. You can't do a video on cars and then a video on, you know, guitar and then a video on video games all in one channel, because it just wouldn't work. Because that's one thing that I've learned from the off. Because like me and George, we did a lot of videos. Like you'd do some like tech news, and then we'd do let's plays, and then we'd do movie reviews, and you know, people just didn't see the value in the channel. You know, they didn't see like, okay, I like this stuff, but all this other stuff's crap, so I'm not going to subscribe to it. And you know, that's something that I've learned. You know, the way I picture the YouTube channel is like a Venn diagram. You know, one circle is...
Oh god, not maths. I haven't done maths in 5 years.
One circle is Lord of the Rings, and then the other circle is gaming, and it's got quite a big overlap, and that big overlap is the people that we're targeting. That's the way I see it for the YouTube channel. The podcast is much bigger. People who like nerds, really, is the podcast.
Go team nerds.
Yeah. What have I learned as well? One of my biggest regrets is the stuff we did after SO1 Weekly, Shadow of Mordor Weekly, because we got quite popular over that, you know, and we lost. You know, after we stopped, because shortly after that we stopped doing Lord of the Rings lore and started doing different things, and we lost about 300-400 subscribers.
Wow.
After that, yeah, not all at once, but like over the course of like a month.
Dribbled off.
Yeah, because like people were just not interested in what we were making, and just felt like, hey, you know, I've lost value in this and everything. And the fallout from that was we should have maybe done better. You know, maybe done a Shadow Model Let's Play and things like that. But you know, you live and learn.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's another thing I think.
Oh, and another thing I've learned. I'll quickly say this before. It doesn't matter. You know, I'll never forget that first Gandalf lore video. I'll never forget it. The amount of effort that I put in, you know, to the actual, you know, the writing of the script,
Yeah.
I got all my fucking Tolkien books out, looked for all the shit on Gandalf. Hours and hours, fucking weeks I was going on to get this perfect thing. Actual quotes from the books and stuff in there and everything. And then the first comment was like, oh, you've got this wrong, and this wrong, and this wrong. And I was like, it's in the book. You know, you could put... I think
you yelled at the top of your lungs,
yeah,
fuck you,
yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, so like, ever since then I've just been like, you know, I still go back on the books and everything, but, you know, to make it quicker,
I remember coming
into
college and you and George were talking, and George said, I can't believe you did that, Conor. I can't believe you blocked comments in the comment section. And you just like, well, I'm fed up of people. I worked so hard on those videos and people telling me, oh, you pronounced Celebrimbor.
Yeah, you pronounced this wrong. And I was like, it's a made-up word. It's made up.
It's a made-up word, you dick.
People, you know, it's great to have all these good comments, and it always like warms your heart, you know, seeing all these good comments. But it's the little negative ones that fucking rub you the wrong way all the time. And it's like, in stuff that you know for a fact is right. You know for an absolute fact that, you know, for example, you know, in Gollum, that he was a Storish breed of hobbit. He was Storish because he lived near Gladden Fields, and that's where they were. But some guy would go, no, he wasn't, he was a Shire folk. And he was like, you're wrong. And then people would upvote that comment, and I was like, no, you're wrong here, because, like, the lawsuits that I make is for people who want to get into Tolkien lore that, you know, are not really, you know, they're not really read every book or really read Lord of the Rings or anything. They're just interested in it. I try to make it as simplified as possible, and and then was when people slag that off, you know, dishearten me when I don't say, you know, oh, the Valar Orine, and people just should know who that is. You know, I like to give a bit of background on who that is to give people a bit of understanding, like in commas, in brackets and stuff. And but I think anyone would agree. You make content where they're like, you know, not necessarily teaching something, but, you know, have like fact
giving information,
information about something obscure. They'll always be told that they're wrong. Always.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something I think we've both learned, is that whatever you do, someone's going to criticise it.
Oh yeah,
someone will criticise it, and it's up to you kind of whether you listen or don't.
Yeah, and like, I love constructive criticism. You know, I love them guys. I always give them a thumbs up and always, you know, reply and say, you know, thanks for that. I'll work on that in the next video. And most of them actually come on Reddit. You know, on the Reddit post that we put out. Yeah. And you know, I always thank them every time. You know, because it helps me improve the show. You know, these images work better than these ones. You know, these transitions are the best and things like that. You know, and they always go a million miles to, you know, progressing the show and improving it. Yeah. But it's just the comments of like, you got this wrong, you fucked up here, you fucked up there. When like, I can prove that it's right, and you can't go back to him and argue with him because you could look an arsehole, even though you want to. There's been times when I've like typed out a full comment and I've just like, maybe this is the best idea.
Yeah, just remove the bits about coming to kill your mother. Yeah, no, just maybe if I posted that.
I'll tell you this one thing though. We actually got a guy who like, I don't know, wanted gay love with George, like trolled him. Or there was a guy called Michael, M1CHA4L, something like that. It was very, very early days, and like was proud of comments, and very excited about getting comments. And he was like, good videos and everything like that. If you go into any conventions this year, you know, I'd love to meet you. Like one of my favourite YouTube channels. George was like replying, yeah, we're off to here, we're off to Eurogamer, you know, and all this stuff. And then he was like, and then the guy was like, obviously trolling and taking the piss. It was just like, it was just like, oh, good, because I just saw your face in that last video and I kind of like it. And George was like, can we keep it to content about the channel, please? And replying to every comment. This guy was running to the ground, and then George was like, you see what this guy's putting in our videos? I was like, George, you're taking the piss, mate. He's like, oh. So we just removed his comments, but still, he just, George. But, yeah, and hopefully there'll be much more stuff that we learn, because at the end of the day, we are still quite small. You know, we're still very small. You know, hoping to grow. Hopefully, in June when you get back from taking Min's lap, and I get my new PC, live streaming will go through the roof and new content and everything.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. The best days are still ahead of us. I think we're just getting started.
Yep, and it's going to be a little bit of a rebuilding process, I think, in June for the podcast. But after that, I think we'll be okay. Every little thing will be alright.
Don't worry about a thing.
Don't worry. Let's go on to the next question. I'm going to guess this is a Pokemon fan, because Charizard239 asks...
Get in there! Come on!
What's your
Charizard for the win.
What's your thoughts on CD Projekt Red? Bloody hell, I am taking off George. What's your thoughts on CD Projekt Red wanting to release Cyberpunk 2077 by the end of next year? And of course, Shatner for the win. Okay, so Cyberpunk 2077 is something we don't know really anything about. We just know it's going to be a big game with some cyberpunk stuff. And they're saying they want to make it bigger than The Witcher. And it's been in development for like 2 years, you know, with another form of people at CD Projekt Red actually on the top floor of the offices that were making it. Because I know this because when Angry Joe and that went to The Witcher, you know, preview.
Yeah.
In Poland, they weren't allowed on the top floor because they were making Cyberpunk 2077 and they weren't allowed to see anything. And so yeah, so it's still very much in process. I know it was, you know, set back a while because they took, for the last 3 months, they took people off Cyberpunk to finish The Witcher.
Yeah.
Which is obviously understandable. But I don't know, take your time with it. You don't need to have to release it at the end of next year. I mean,
you don't have to rush it out.
It's a bit short, yeah. It's like, take your time with it. If you want to make this big epic game, and bring it out when it's ready. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, me too. I think you're right. I think the thing about The Witcher 3, I think probably...
Just hearing that name makes me happy. Just hear Witcher 3 and I was like, oh, good memories. Sorry.
I think what contributed to The Witcher 3's success more than anything was the fact that they took the time.
I made this, you know, beautiful, incredible world, and I don't think you'd be able to get that if it was rushed.
Yeah, they gave exactly the right amount of time. They gave it exactly what it needed to make sure it was finished.
Yeah. So should we move on to the next question?
Yes. Okay.
It's in your Skype.
Sorry.
You said your Skype.
A second. I can see it now. This is from Lawson. Great name. Do you ever feel
like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever keep reading like a house of cards? One moment from caving in. Do you ever feel
that video
6 feet under
games will be a social norm on TV and Shatner for the win?
The light.
Conor, do you ever feel that video games will be a social norm on TV and Shatner for the win?
Have you ever seen the interview?
You mean the James Franco Seth?
Yeah.
No.
Great film. One of my favourite films of last year. One of my favourite comedy films of all time. Watch it. Great. I love James Franco. I love Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, have you heard about James Franco's new film, by the way?
Which one?
One about him making a kind of film about the worst film in the world.
No. I know he made a documentary on bondage porn.
Did he?
Yeah.
Damn.
He's such an interesting person. He's like got degrees left, right, and centre. He teaches every Thursday and Friday at NYU, and teaches as a guest.
Shit.
Yeah, he's incredibly smart. And do you know when he presented the Oscars in like 2007, it was a disaster. And he knew it was a disaster. He didn't go to the as soon as it finished, and he didn't go to the after party or anything. He was going to skip class the next day, you know, for teaching, but instead he got on a plane and taught the class in his suit because he didn't have time to change.
Oh, what a lad!
I love him.
Wow, he is really interesting.
He is. He's got books out and stuff. He's like done poetry. He's an artist as well. He's done too much stuff.
He is the very definition of a philanthropist.
Yeah, he does too much. Too much. Do I feel that video games will be social norm on TV? No. And do I care? Nope. Because we've got YouTube and all these other online entertainments, and I think it's better there. I don't see Total Biscuit having a TV show, you know, talking about reviews for games. You know, they've always tried it. And the fact is that the people who watch TV, you know, don't care about that stuff. A lot of the people who really use, you know, YouTube for gaming information and stuff like that, don't really watch that much TV. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really watch a huge amount of TV. The only TV I watch is like specific shows online.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I actually at all anymore. I don't really watch TV.
Yeah.
What I do is binge watch programs on Netflix or Amazon
Online,
Prime,
exactly, on demand and things like that.
Yeah, on demand, because I want to watch that specific content. And in that sense, I think YouTube has spoiled us, because with YouTube we get to pick exactly what content we want to watch. So we go away and we watch it, and then when we're done, we just turn it off.
Yeah.
Because or we can flick and find similar videos. I think very much YouTube is the space for gaming.
YouTube and Twitch, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube and Twitch, because gaming on YouTube is such a big market that they launched their own app for it.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, I very rarely come across, besides Zoella, Joe, whatever his name is, KSI or whatever their name is. I don't really come across many of them as much as I do gamers. For all of those guys, there's like 2 gamers.
Yeah, well, there is a lot of vloggers bullshit out there. It's just that YouTube is actually really good at recommending channels and recommending videos to you. Mm-hmm. So, we see videos, that we're interested in, 9 times out of 10, something that would be of interest to us. We don't see, sprinkle of glitter and shit, or Bethany Motor doing a makeup tutorial as a suggested video, even though they've got 9 million subscribers each of them, and they're very popular, and they've got a lot of people watching them. It's just that we don't see them because we're seeing the side of YouTube that we're interested in, which is a massive side. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. So I don't think gaming will ever really break into TV,
and I don't care if it doesn't, to be honest with you.
I'd be happy if it doesn't, to be honest. Yeah. Right.
Next question.
I think.
KTM, discuss you always get the cool names. Blazon.
Yeah, I do.
discuss Batman v Superman again, chatting for the win. Okay, so...
You excited for Batman vs Superman?
Yeah, I think there's a good film in there, even though it was a terrible trailer.
Yeah, I think there's a good film in there too. I'm not as excited for it as Civil War. Okay, discussion over.
We talked about it a lot last week, and we'll talk about it again at some point.
Yeah, there's definitely more to come, and I think once kind of my excitement about Doomsday had settled down, I was kind of left with the feeling of, actually, this is not that great a trailer.
Yeah,
it just tells us more of the same.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got a clearer picture of where the story's going, but I still don't like where the story's going.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was quickly bringing this up to you now before I forget. I've actually been recently getting into ETC again, during the Machinery ETC.
Yeah.
Not the ETC Day, but the actual ETC, and they do a podcast, and it's Elliot and Ricky. I actually quite like them, even though I know you didn't. But
no, I really don't like Elliot and Ricky. I still watch some of their stuff, if it interests me, but I've
just started watching it again. I don't watch any Funhouse anymore because I don't know why, to be honest. I don't really like the No. It just kind of gripes me the wrong way sometimes with some of the hypocritical stuff that they say.
It does me sometimes.
It's not necessarily Adam and Bruce that make it. It's the other 2.
Yeah, Megan.
Whatever her name is, and that bloke with long hair. Yeah. Anyway, but he was on the podcast that they did. It was on about Creed because it's out in America. Yeah. And we've talked about Rocky a bit on the show, and the 2 of them, Ricky said it was one of the best films he's seen all year, cinematography wise. He says there's done some great shots over the year, and the fighting scene was great. Yeah. And the bloke said that it's better than more than half of the Rocky films, and that it's in the modern day and it's a different story, and that apparently Sylvester Stallone should be nominated for an Academy Award because of it. Apparently he was that good in it, and I've heard that in numerous places.
Really?
Apparently he was really, really good in it. Yeah.
Oh shit.
And actually Empire, the proper full-on, movie review magazine, is the main one out there, has said that he should be nominated for an Oscar for it, which is a massive statement. So
that is, to be fair, coming from Empire, who, as you said, are pretty big. So yeah, deserved from the sound of things.
Let's go into I can't wait to see it in the new year. I'm after watching with my dad. January 15th, because we love Rocky.
Is there anything more uncool?
We love Rocky so much. Everything's cool about Rocky, and anything you say different, you're wrong. Cannot wait. Okay. Cannot wait.
Alright, I'm kind of into Rocky now, I guess. Creed should be good.
I love it. I love it so much. Last question. It's in your Skype.
Okay, this is from Harry Q. The Q makes that name cool.
I'm wondering, what could Q be? quietly.
Harry Quebec?
Quebec. Quapplehouse? I don't know.
Harry Quincy.
Quincy.
Quentin.
I prefer Quincy. Harry Quincy Jones.
Yeah, please, honestly, just we'll know it's you.
Actually, the thing is, though, is I actually know his last name. It's just that I don't put it in just in case people get pissed off.
Oh, Dan, you've got to tell me what his last name is.
I will do, after.
Oh, actually, don't do it now. But I was going to say, leave another question next week and just put H and then your last name.
Yeah.
And we'll know it's you. So, yeah. We'll know.
Yeah.
So, he says... Well, he asks, rather, do you feel this generation of consoles is disappointing? And when is your prediction for a new console announcement? And Shatner for the win.
Okay. Do I feel it's disappointing? In ways I don't, because I think the step up from actual games, for multi-platform games has gone up to another level. The amount of people you can have on screen, the level of dust, the way that games look now is a lot better than what they looked in 2013. I mean, it's just a fact. It's just it's disappointing that they're already behind the PC already.
Yeah. I would completely agree. I am slightly disappointed with the Xbox One. In fact, I'm very disappointed with the Xbox One because after the 360, which is a console that I love and I'm staring at right now with little love hearts in my eyes. After the Xbox 360, you would have just thought it would just have been simple of them to go, okay, more of the same.
Yeah.
And then they come out with this bullshit of like some kind of home entertainment system.
Xbox One.
Yeah, and the name as well. I was like, if I'm going to be playing my Xbox, you can guarantee I'm not going to be using it for anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surfing the internet on it. I'm not going to be watching Sky. I'm not going to be watching football on it. I don't watch football anyway. But I just make a console. I just want a console.
Yeah.
And that said, I completely agree with you in terms of they are outdated already. In a sense, they are. If you want to stay up to date with all the stuff that's coming out, you buy a PC.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my thing. I'm going to buy a PS4 first next year. I think so that we can kind of game together. I think that'd be better. But over the kind of thing, I'm going to build my own rig. I think build my own PS4, build my own PC. I'm lost completely. But yeah,
I can't wait to do that. Well, I can't wait for George to do that to me. This is the difference between me and George. Because I can't wait to get my new PC in June when we're playing Footy Manager and just talking, and he just went, I can't wait to build it. That's the difference between me and him.
Yeah. So predictions for the next console. Well, we know the NX is coming out probably next year, or it's going to be at least announced next year.
Yeah.
This is the new Nintendo system to replace the defunct Wii U.
Yeah.
As for the Xbox One and the PS4,
is it Xbox 2? What are you going to call it?
I have no idea. They might just backtrack and completely retcon the Xbox One and try to erase it from existence and just call the Xbox we'll call it the Xbox 2 for now. They'll just call it the Xbox 720.
Something like that, yeah.
That's a cooler name.
It's a cool name. It's stupid, but it's cool.
Yeah, there was like rumours flying around. It was going to be Xbox 720, something else, and then Xbox Infinite. And you come out and you go, the Xbox One.
And it was just like, what? Like PlayStation are in a good position. PlayStation 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep going.
Yeah.
But
they might surprise. They might all of a sudden turn around and go, yeah, we're remaking the PlayStation 1, just as you remember it. Yeah, this is for the players.
Yeah. It's like, just to give you a bit of background, the Xbox 360 was released in 2006, and the PlayStation 4 was released in 2013. So that's 7 years. So judging by that, it could be 2020 when the next one comes out. But I've got a feeling that this one could be a shorter life cycle, to catch up to the PC.
Yeah, it already feels like it's reached its limit, doesn't it?
I'm going to say June 20. I'm going to say E3 2018. I'm going to go that early and come out end of 2019.
Yeah. But I don't know, they might take a little bit longer because I think they'll be wanting to develop new systems. because they'll be wanting to find a way to get a leg up over the PC now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They might take a bit longer to work out where they're going with it.
Could do. We'll see anyway.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Competition. It's always a good thing.
Yeah. So, comment of the week.
Oh, here we go. I love these.
It's called from QT Mr. JJJ.
Great name already. I can see why he got comment of the week.
He says, "Read this like the Joker." Oh, so Lex Luthor thinks he can take on the Batman. But no. I'm going to stop that.
No, it'll be best to stop.
This is a battle for the J-Man, baby. No, in quotation marks, Zombie Zod. The Jared the Joker will fuck shit up. Great comment, man. Great comment. 5-star review for the Batman.
The Batman.
5-star reviews. America. Harry Q, Stephen Y, and Louis O. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Harry Q. Good question as well, by the way.
And Stephen Y and Louis O.
Oh yeah, you did good too.
Yeah, that's you.
Good guys.
You did know that. Actually, Louis O was the guy who asked about tea.
Okay, not such a great question, but keep trying. Keep giving us those 5-star reviews.
South America, Tara B. Europe, Mara K. And in Australia, Barack M.
I seem to remember Mara K, or is that just me?
That's just you.
Okay.
Also in Asia. Oh god. I don't want to be offensive in this last name. Asia. Zhongyang X. Okay. Yeah.
You did good. Let's just leave it alone.
I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but anyway. Let's go. If you want to email any questions, email dagoratv@gmail.com, and you have to include Shatner for the win. And the reason I say you have to include it is because we get a lot of emails, and the way I find them is by put it in the because it comes up in the body, and I just find Shatner for the win, and it filters out all the questions. So
excellent. That is a very clever system. All of a sudden, putting Shatner for the win is important.
Yeah. So you kind of have to put it in. We have articles on Game Skinny actually put one out a few days ago. Go check it out. And,
you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, because it was just basically a rehash of my video.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, Master Herald, the fuckers. Anyway, donation links are in the comments below. So if you want to donate to Nathan's Pagan Mini Adventure, Civil War, combat fighting, gun shooting, curry in
elephant riding
India thing. Go donate to that. If you want to donate to the channel as well, you can give that in the link below. And all the donation links are in the description. Also, leave a comment if you want.
Yeah, so that's always nice when you do that.
It is.
Obviously, don't do
We're gonna get so many, sarcastic. You got this wrong. You got this wrong. Is to take the piss of my little rant earlier.
Don't do that, please. I mean, no, seriously, do it. Cause just do it.
So, movies. So, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Spider-Man first, Hunger Games first, or Star Wars?
Well, what have we got to talk about? Hunger Games? Is that about the
more movies happening? That's happening. It's been confirmed fully now.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't care. We know for a fact that Jennifer Lawrence isn't going to be in it because she's sick of them.
Well, she's got offers coming out of her ears.
Yeah.
I mean, she's turned down. Well, she's not going to be in any more X-Men films after this.
After Apocalypse. No.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I can understand why she would turn it down.
Yeah.
I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you.
If it was going to be one, I'd like it to be Haymitch. Maybe do his Hunger Games.
Yeah, because he had a really interesting games, didn't he? He was in a Quarter Quell, double the
people
tribute. Yeah. So that's what 50.
Yeah.
Something like that. No, it's not
20, 48.
48. Yeah. So yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be that. That's the only thing I'd like. Well, if you're going to do a war one of how it all come about, I'd go watch it. Yeah, it's a film. I won't be bothered. I won't be excited about it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not going to get seriously hyped for it, and I don't think Hunger Games is that kind of franchise. It's like, okay, they're films based on books. Okay, they're pretty good films to be fair, but I'm not going to be crying my eyes out if the film comes out and it's not any good. I'll just be like, nah.
Yeah, it's not got a hardcore fan base as that Harry Potter had. Where people would literally, have been dying for another Harry Potter film for ages, you know.
And we've got one coming out next year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be really good. I'm actually quite looking forward to it.
I'm not. Yeah,
Because
sorry, yeah. Raining on the parade.
We'll talk about that in another video when we actually feature it, because it's going to be featured in the end of the year one at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Spoilers.
oh yeah, we're going to be talking about this thing.
Yeah, so tune in.
We're going to talk in the podcast about films in the movie segment.
Conor, you're ruining it for me.
Yeah, would I say no to more Fun Games films? It's a situation of like, I don't care if they come out, I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
If they're bad, I'm not going to be losing any sleep. You know,
I will not be crying over the lost potential.
Yeah, and I don't think the films have that as much of a hardcore fan base as.
No.
Well, even Twilight did, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
We shit on
Twilight
Twilight.
was.
We shit on it all the time, like, but it had like its fan base, didn't it? It had like a hardcore following.
Well, yeah, mainly 8-year-old girls, but.
Yeah, but still.
Yep.
This. Oh shit, was my mouse gone?
I don't know.
Where has it gone? Oh crap, I've lost my mouse.
It's like the start to every bad nursery rhyme.
It's here. Anyway, sorry. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse went up the clock.
Okay, stop there.
Yeah.
Stop there. What's the next topic?
Spider-Man and Captain America. Not been in any of the trailers. Kind of like Luke Skywalker in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, but unlike
We haven't really actually talked about this at all for while we've done the podcast on YouTube on iTunes and that and all these other resources. So I was wondering, what's your thoughts about them having Spider-Man in this film, him being young and everything? We'll have a discussion on Spider-Man, even though it's a bit late, but there's not really been a lot of movie news really coming out this week, has there?
Yeah, there is very little. Let's see. I don't think he'll play. Sorry.
I was going to say it's a release we got from Fox because, God, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was...
I don't think it was that bad.
Awful.
It wasn't that bad.
It was awful.
Oh,
okay, what was better, Man of Steel or Amazing Spider-Man 2? And there is a right answer. There is a right answer.
Okay, Man of Steel was better.
Yeah.
But Amazing Spider-Man 2 was at least a 5 out of 10.
I actually gave it 3 on me and George did a video on it.
Wow.
I really hated it. I loved the stuff between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, great acting.
That stuff was good.
He was a fantastic Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
That's what really made me sour about the whole thing, was that he was a fantastic Spider-Man.
I actually said that in the review. I was just like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I don't know if you know, George, but Spider-Man's in this movie. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. I did think that's a shame, because he's a great Spider-Man and he's British. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, the bullshit with hyping up this rhino dude and having him in for 30 seconds at the end.
That was bad. That was too bad. Honestly though, I thought the film's biggest problem was that it was trying to make up for the mistakes of the last one. The biggest problem with the last one, with Amazing Spider-Man, was it again overpromised and underdelivered. But at least with this one, they could promise they were going to make a sequel. Yeah. And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes out and people go, okay, you still haven't given us the answers we wanted, but it's okay, we're going to make a sequel. No, you're not. You're cut down.
Yeah, I didn't mind the first Amazing Spider-Man, to be honest with you.
I liked the first Amazing Spider-Man. I kind of liked it, yeah. That was at least 7 out of 10 for me.
I'd say 6, but yeah. It was above average. But,
yeah, definitely.
It was a good film, but like, there was too many storylines that they couldn't satisfy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to be honest, I couldn't give a shit about what happened to his parents. You know, they tried to have this overarching mystery when really all I cared about... I don't know, I didn't even like this fucking EDM-sounding villain, Electro.
What, Electro?
Yeah.
I quite liked Electro, but I thought by that point...
He was basically the Riddler of the Batman Forever.
by that point, that kind of story arc had become cliche.
Yeah.
You know, we'd even seen that in the Sam Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man films. Someone who, you know, is a really nice guy, bumbling around, and then has some kind of cataclysmic accident, and suddenly he's a bad guy. You know, I think there were similar plot lines in the first kind of Sam Raimi trilogy. I can't call them to mind because I mean,
I preferred the original trilogy a shit ton more.
Fuck no. The only good one of that trilogy was Spider-Man 2.
The first two were great. Tobey Maguire was
Spider-Man 1 was difficult.
James Franco is
Harry Osborn.
Yeah, it was quality. Mary Jane, I thought she was well casted.
Yeah, that was what's her name? Kristen
Bell. Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. Yes, Stewart.
It's not Stewart. Let's use the one on Twilight.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's. I was going to say Christian Scott Thomas, but it's not her either.
Spider-Man Mary Jane, actress. Her name is Kirsten Dunst.
Oh, that's it, Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
The only other film I've seen her in is Jumanji, but I know she's been
I saw her in the one with she was in a film with what's her name? What's his name? Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think I know that one. Oh.
I saw it. It was alright.
Came out like last year, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like an agent and things happened. But I don't know. I love the Doc Ock. Like Spider-Man 3 is a bad film, but I still enjoyed watching it. It's like The Rock for me. It's like The Rock. Like he's not a good actor, but I love every film he's in because I enjoy him. I love that bullshit clapping thing that he was doing.
Yeah,
that dance down the foot with the thinking.
Right. The difference between The Rock and Spider-Man 3. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Is
I love The Rock. It's The Rock in a superhero film.
I love The Rock, right? And I enjoy every film he's in, even Journey 2. Oh, God.
He made me start watching WWE when he rejoined. Start rewatching it. He did. There was a bit when he was sat on the ring and he was playing guitar in Cleveland, and he was talking about John Cena, and he was singing this country song. It was so fucking funny, and like I was literally like, he even got my dad laughing. And my dad can't stand wrestling, and I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I loved it when I was a kid, up to the age of about 13, and I stopped watching it. And I started watching it again when The Rock came back in, like from the ages of 15 to very early 16, and then stopped again. And I still watch WrestleMania every year, but either way, my dad, he hated it, but he got my dad laughing, and I was like, that's a way of showing that he did a good job. And I was like, who the fuck wrote his lines? And he wrote them all. And I was like, of course he did. Of course he did. He's so funny.
Right, but the difference between The Rock and Spider-Man 3 is that I like The Rock in all of his films, including Journey 2, including The Scorpion King.
The Scorpion King's fucking kick-ass. Shut up. It's a great film. It is a great film. That was one of my favourite films as a kid. Don't you dare shit on my childhood. Don't you dare.
Can I just make my point?
Yeah.
I mean, fucking hell.
Sorry, but don't you dare.
But seriously. The Scorpion King and The Mummy 2, are those interlinked? Because he was the Scorpion King in The Mummy 2 as well, but he was some kind of hybrid monster.
I think it's like a spiritual successor. But like nothing like... I don't know, no one's really checking up on Scorpion King lore, are they?
No, but who wants to check up on Scorpion King lore, mate? But, let's be honest.
There was a film he was in where he was a football coach. Not football as in American football, like soccer. And
really?
Yeah, like a kids' football team.
Oh.
It's not like a family comedy. It's like a proper film of like, you know, kid. It's like a little bit of life. It's like an enjoyable film to watch. Where he's like he goes out with one of the kids' mums. There's like a stepdad, and he has to coach the football team. And he used to actually be a player, but he got done for gambling and things like that. And I was like, it's a kids' film, but it's enjoyable. And there's another one where it's a true story. It's called I can't remember what it was called.
Is it called The Tooth Fairy?
It's not that, but that's a great film as well. It's so
that's
funny.
Terrible.
So funny. It's
fucking awful.
That's why it's funny.
No, it's not.
It is. When he's there in his little tutu.
Oh shit. Oh god, don't. Just don't.
But he's actually in a prison, and he's like a prison officer, and it's like a youth detention centre, and he's like the football coach of this team, and he's like teaching them discipline and stuff like that, and like they're all getting on, and they're all turning out alright. It's a true story in like and like it follows these people. Well, based on a true story. I know how you feel on that bullshit, but
well, I don't mind it all. I
Yeah.
mean, I've softened my view on it slightly, but
yeah,
not
but
that much.
But yeah, he's like the coach, and they got on pitch and like win win the national championships and actually going to play in like a club competition, for the country, and they're all
Yeah.
slated in the news and everything. But then
Yeah.
they actually end up winning the damn thing, and they're
So
all.
it's like Cool Runnings, except they win at the end.
It was, yeah, and it's not a comedy. It's actually like a proper heartfelt. It's like a 15 is like it follows some people how they went into prison, and when because of like the discipline they got, they all ended up coming out of jail, and all of them are clean. None of them went back, which is kind of rare.
Aww, that's
But
nice.
It's actually a really good film. The Rock's kick ass in it. He's. Let's get back to Spider-Man.
Let's get back to Spider-Man, because the point I was going to make about Spider-Man 3 is it's unwatchable. You cannot go back and watch that film just purely because of emo Spider-Man. Fuck me, that's wooden. Fuck me, that's dire shit to watch.
I'm actually going to say something that you're going to be really cringing in your mind. It's one of them films that every time it's on TV, I'm just like, yeah, let's give it a go.
This is me taking my headphones off.
For me, yeah, it's a bad film. It's a bad film. Yeah,
You're an idiot, Connor.
Put your headphones back on.
No, back now.
It's a bad film. It's a bad film. Don't get me wrong. It's better
It's
than
a
Green.
terrible film.
It's better than Green Lantern, but it's a bad
Oh
film.
yeah, anything's better than Green Lantern.
But I don't know what it is. But I don't know why. I kind of get this little enjoyment feeling. I think it's because I generally laugh at the acting in places.
See, I can't do that. I can't laugh at bad acting. I just feel bad. The poor guy.
Is that?
That's why I can't watch the prequel trilogy of Star Wars anymore. It's because I feel bad for Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. It just because I know part of it must not be his fault.
Yeah.
It's part of it's got to be down to George Lucas.
I think 9 out of 10 of it on Spider-Man 3 wasn't his fault. Wasn't Tobey Maguire's fault. I think most of it was the bullshit that it was trying to do with,
It was a crap story.
it was.
It was a crap story. It should have been awesome.
It generally didn't look good either, did it? Like,
No,
the stuff with the Sandman escaping jail and...
the special effects were really poor, particularly compared to the previous kind of
The previous
films.
two, yeah. Like, the first
Yeah.
two I thought were really good. I really liked them two films. That was really what got me into superhero films, the first two.
Well, I thought the second one was good, and ironically, the second one is the only one I don't have on DVD. I thought the first one was serviceable.
I thought the first one was good. I thought the stuff with Green Goblin and everything was... I enjoyed the wrestling ring Spider-Man.
That was good. That was good, to be fair. That was good. And the second one I thought was genuinely good. I thought that was just a good film all round,
Do you know that James Franco actually tried to play Spider-Man? He auditioned for it.
I had heard that, yeah.
Yeah, I was watching him on Howard Stern because if you don't know who Howard Stern is, I'm guessing if you're from America everyone knows who he is, but if you don't know who he is, just watch his interviews. He's a radio show interviewer. He's got like 30 million subscribers for satellite radio.
Mm-hmm.
He basically booted, normal radio into the ground, and he's just hilarious. He's so fucking funny. And he interviewed celebrities. He interviews anyone. He interviews like authors to musicians to porn stars. He'll interview anyone.
That's not selling him to me, mate.
No, you won't like him. I know for a fact that you'd hate him. Like him, he's so... I don't know, he just makes me laugh out like he's like that. Yeah, do you know Courtney Love? The person who's married to Kurt Cobain?
Yes.
He always slags her off on the show, all the time. Like the stuff she says about Dave Grohl and things. And they had her on the show, and he was basically saying, "You're a people lover," basically calling her a whore. But he's so funny, like... But anyway, he was interviewing James Franco, and Franco was like, yeah, he was like really hurt when he found out he didn't get it, because he knew that he was actually driving past the studio, on the way home after a job, and he saw Tobey Maguire get out the car, and they made eye contact, and he said he knew then that he didn't get it, and he wasn't going to play Osborn, Goblin's son or whatever.
Yeah, Harry Osborn.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to play, but he was that down. And he wasn't really famous here. This was before Pineapple Express came out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't famous, but he decided to take it anyway, even though he was pretty down. But
He still played it really well.
he did, yeah.
I actually sympathised with him in the third film over Peter Parker. I wanted him to blow Peter Parker's nuts off.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
No, I hated Spider-Man in the last film, honestly. I just hated him as a character. That was the thing. I just thought he was a whiny bitch.
Spider-Man's in this film. He loves Mary Jane.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, he's got some kind of romantic crisis
He
going
loves
on.
Mary Jane. What can you do? Anyway. So Star
this is a
Wars.
long way round of saying, yeah, it'll be cool to have Spider-Man in Civil War, I suppose.
It will
I
be.
just hope they don't give him too much screen time.
Yeah, and we'll see how this new kid does.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be as good as Andrew Garfield. I don't want him to
I
be
don't
as
think
good
he'll be as good as
Andrew
Tobey
Garfield.
Maguire, but yeah.
Right, Tobey Maguire, better Peter Parker than Andrew Garfield,
He was.
no denying
He
that.
was.
Andrew Garfield, far better Spider-Man.
I think the reason I think when it comes to me is because I don't know. It's just for me, the first
Better
two are just
films
much better
overall.
films. I think that's what's getting it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he conveyed that emotion of just like anger and like with Green Goblin when he's throwing him onto the wall and stuff. And
Yeah.
like you can generally tell he's hurt. I think he conveys that better than Andrew Garfield. Like I don't know. Is that
Well, I
that's
don't know, because with Andrew Garfield, we never saw his character get into a seriously emotional fight. For
no, we
example,
don't get into an
if-
emotional state, and I don't think he did a good job with it. Like with Gwen dying, I didn't really feel that personally.
I kind of did, actually, but no, I think if he'd fought the Sinister Six, if they'd done what they were going to do with it, and if they'd had him fight the Sinister Six, if he'd faced off against Green Goblin again, then that would have been like a seriously like intense kind of moment. But we'll never get to see that now because they fucked it up. They done fucked it up.
You done fucked it up. So, Star Wars is next week.
Star Wars is next week. My bank account is getting £8 lighter next
Well, $6.50.
next week.
$6.50.
Oh, $6.50.
Yeah.
Then
When-
I got
when-
seriously overcharged at the cinema. Those bastards last week.
What
Oh
happened?
shit. Well,
Did you pay
I think-
Did you pay an adult price at peak time?
apparently they charged me $16.50 for 2 tickets.
Yeah, you pay 2 adult tickets.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, you need to go teen ticket. Give me it now. But when do you want to go see it? By the way, because I'm back on
Well-
the 16th. George is back on the 18th.
Well, we'll take. Should we go with George and Luca?
We'll do that. Yeah.
I think I'll have to go and I've promised I'll go and see it with my family first.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a kind of going away thing for me. For
So do you want to do it
India.
after Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
do it.
that'll be time
That's
to
what
do
I was
it.
thinking anyway. It'd be better to do that. God,
Yeah.
I need to see so many films after Christmas. Fucking Joy's coming out.
You want to see Joy?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not sure about that one.
I know. I think I love David O. Russell. I love his films. I loved Americanus. I love Silver Linings Playbook. So I love The Fighter. So and it's got casting that I like. So me and George will go watch it. It's like me and George enjoy them kind of films. So we'll go see that. I need to see the new Will Ferrell film that comes out.
Which one's that again?
Daddy's Home, the one with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, I saw the trailer for that. That looks hilarious.
Yeah, I need to see that. And what else is there coming out? There's another film coming out as well, which too many. And Creed as well. Fuck me. The Revenant. Fuck. Hateful Eight. Too many films. Star Wars. Lucas likes it. I'm not sensing too much enthusiasm from Harrison Ford, but then again, it's Harrison Ford.
Yes, but I think probably Harrison Ford is going to get killed off, so I don't think that will be an issue.
Yeah, well, he said in it, didn't he, that to be honest, like in his interview, I watched his interview just because like it's Harrison Ford, and he was like, he didn't sound like he gave a shit. He was like, "Did you feel any nostalgia coming back?" And he was like, "No, could take it or leave it."
That's what I really like about him is he's a straight up and down grumpy bastard.
Yeah.
And he plays that well. You know, I think.
Yeah, he looks weird when he looks happy to me. He's one of the people when I see him smile, he just doesn't look right.
Yeah, like in Anchorman 2, during the big fight scene when he comes along and he's smiling, and I'm like, stop smiling, Harrison, stop it.
Have you seen Will Ferrell's Will Ferrell's what's the word, impression of it? Of Harrison Ford and Anchorman. He was like, he didn't really seem that bothered to be taken apart, and Grey Norton was like, "What do you mean?" He was just like, "When are we going on? We're gonna go do the scene." And he does the voice really well, does the eyebrow and everything. He's like, "Okay, let's get on with it." He's like, "Well, I've got to be leaving early."
I just thought it was hilarious to watch him in Anchorman 2 transform into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Or what was it, a were something or other? But were hyena. That was it, a were hyena.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, it was great. No, I think because I don't think he's that into Star Wars to begin with. He wanted to get killed off in the 5th one. They were planning to kill him off. They were planning to kill him off in the 6th one.
It looks like in the 5th one, like what it looks like to me is that they were going to kill him off, but they kind of copped out of it.
Well, yeah, George Lucas said they wanted him alive for the next one, and the plan was then to kill him off. But George Lucas decided that he wanted a happy ending, as opposed to a more kind of... I think the original thing was to have it a bit more ambiguous. So Leia was going to go back to, I don't know, probably some ruling planet and become queen. They were going to defeat the Death Star, defeat the dark side, potentially, but also have it ambiguously have Luke walking off on the desert of Tatooine. Like, did he become a bad guy? Did he succumb to the dark side? Something like that. I think that was the original intent, but I think they decided they needed a happy ending, which is why I think the 6th one to most people seems like the most childish of the 3. Considering the 5th one was
it is the most
hardcore.
childish of the 3, with the fucking teddy bears and all this like, yay, happy at the end.
Yeah, everybody having a party.
Yeah,
oh god, it was. The 6th one had so many great moments, like
I said to you, every time I went down to the teddy bear people fighting stormtroopers, I was just like, can we just get back to the epic, massive space battle up there, please?
Can we get back to the space battle? Can we get back to the Death Star, where really interesting shit is going down? You
can either do that, or you can either go to, Palpatine, the cool guy. Go over there or there. But just don't go to the... That was such a bad bit, the teddy bear people, like...
Yeah. And they spent 40 minutes of, in probably that Ewok thing, setting up all of that, like... meeting the teddy bear people, Princess Leia getting carried off by the teddy bear people,
exactly.
Han, Luke, Chewie, and all the others getting tied up and carried away by the teddy bear people. C-3PO telling a story to the teddy bear people. Give up with the teddy bear people. Oh, I don't like Ewoks.
It's like, I don't mean to sound all fanboy here, but that was like my main thing with Lord of the Rings. One of the main reasons why I loved it. They did battles. Probably the best I've ever seen in a film, unbelievably well. 2 towers, going from, Helm's Deep to the Ents attacking Isengard.
Yeah.
And it was all this back and forth of like, and even that, the tension that was going on with Frodo and that, like, you never felt bored in a scene. In that last hour of 2 towers, you were just like, it was all back and forth and everything was happening. To be fair, I actually thought that was something that The Hobbit did well.
Because in 2 towers, they had, they kept transitioning, didn't they? But something important was going on in every scene.
Exactly. You was never like, okay, maybe you had a bit in Desolation of Smaug when he's like trying to get the King's Foil. It was like, I watched it with a friend who was actually in my history in the first year, and when there was like fighting the dragon, he was just there like taking a bit like, what about the King's Foil? Yeah, but that's something that I think that Lord of the Rings and Jackson's films did better than Star Wars for me.
Yeah, but I think by that point, Star Wars, he didn't want to be like some kind of epic battle kind of thing.
God knows why. It's called fucking Star Wars.
I know. I think he, particularly in the prequels, he started playing on political kind of things, political lines, and particularly for me, when I was like a kid, I was there thinking, I don't want to know about Trade Federation negotiations.
Yeah.
Just honestly, go and kill things, please.
To be honest, it sounds to me like that to me was the best part of Star Trek, of the stuff that I've seen so far. And like I've actually seen the first 6. I need to start Next Generation immediately.
Yes, you do.
But oh god, when he died, Shatner. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. With Shatner in episode 6. What made me laugh though in episode 6, not episode 6, with Star Trek 6.
Yeah, what was it? Undiscovered Country. Yes.
Yeah, the bit to the knee when he's like, "Oh, genitals are not in the same place, Captain."
Not everyone has their genitals in the same place.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, you what they reminded me of.
Yeah.
I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee.
I'll tell you my favourite bit. When they discover the woman is a shapeshifter, and she shapeshifts into Captain Kirk. Yeah. And he goes, "I can't believe I kissed you." And she goes, "Yeah, it must have been your lifelong ambition." No,
if at the very least you've got to watch all the films. You know, if you want to skip out the TV series, skip out the TV series, but watch the films and then get up to the remakes.
Well, I've
the
seen
remakes.
all the original series stuff, so I was thinking of going to watch the new Star Trek now.
Right.
Would that be recommendable?
Not really, because you're missing out a ton of great stuff from the Next Generation era.
Oh no! I'm going to go back and watch it. I mean, like, the next thing I'm going to watch is this the new Star Trek ones, because it's them characters, isn't it, from the original series?
It is, yeah. But I would say stick with it as you're going now, because there are certain things, particularly with Spock, that are expanded on in Next Generation.
Okay.
Maybe more in the TV series and the films, but I can kind of fill you in on that. You will learn a little bit more. The political landscape of the Next Generation era really comes into play in the new Star Trek film.
which I'm looking forward to watching, because I said this to you. One of my favourite episodes of the original series was the one with it when it's just Kirk at a table, arguing, and
that's court martial, isn't it?
And like I was just watching it, and like, God, if anyone, like, most other shows did this, you know, just at a table arguing all freaking episode, it would have been the most boring thing in the world. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, you won't get a lot of that in the new Star Trek films. It's much more action heavy. I will point that out. But
I've heard that, which is something I'm going to have to get used to. I'm going to have to.
In Into Darkness, which is the sequel, there is a bit more of that. You will see a bit more of that. There's but it's more like how the political landscape or the kind of the discussions have informed what happens in the new Star Trek films.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to go against complete everything that you've said.
Okay.
Because I'm going to watch the first two Star Trek films and talk to you about them on the podcast while you can be on the podcast.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Because I'm not going to be able to do all of them, the whole Next Generation, all them films and everything, and not everything after that, before you go away.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's like I'm a man.
But please, for the love of God, do me this favour: watch the two Star Trek films, and then we'll discuss them next week. And then the week after that, watch just one of the Next Generation Star Trek films. Watch Star Trek Generations.
Oh, should I do the films or the TV show? Doesn't the TV show come first in the chronology?
Just watch the film Star Trek Generations.
Okay.
Just purely because it's got Captain Kirk and Captain Picard in it.
Okay, I'm watching it.
So yeah,
I'm loading it now. No, I'll watch the first two for this week.
Yeah. Okay.
And then,
do that. Do that.
Yeah. I've got another William Shatner thing.
Oh yeah.
Do you know the bloke from Jackass, Steve-O?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
There was a comedy roast with of Charlie Sheen. The comedy roast of Charlie Sheen, and it's like, because he's not very funny, so he's got to do the gag, you know, to stay popular, stay relevant. So he ran into Mike Tyson's fist. He literally ran in full pelt and broke his nose. And all you could hear was just William Shatner in the crowd just going, "My God, Steve!" And he just turns to him, and he just turns the camera to him, and after when he's looking for everyone's reactions, and he just goes to this random guy next to him and just goes, "Did you see that? My God!"
I love his voice. That's
it's the best part of him.
Voice. He's fucking great.
I had to pause the video when he did that, because it showed he was in the crowd, and Amy Schumer called him a fat bastard as a joke. It was a joke, and he laughed it off.
Yeah.
And he was just in there, and you could hear everyone just going like, "Oh," and laughing and stuff. And then you could just hear over it all, just him going, "My God, Steve." Beautiful. So, let's actually talk about episode 7.
Okay.
My hype for this film is stayed the exact same as what it was when I rewatched Star Wars. Elevated from what it was before, because before I didn't give a shit. I am looking forward to seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually going to be honest, and I'm actually going to say something that you're going to be like, no, judging by your reaction from a minute ago. I'm actually looking more forward to see Joy than this new film, than the new Star Wars.
Oh, fuck off.
I'm going to be serious.
No. Just no.
Because I prefer them films to Star Wars. Like, I like Star Wars. I like it. I'm just not...
Let me put this into perspective for you, Connor. You can watch people with lightsabers, with, neon swords,
fighting each other for the fate of the galaxy, or you can watch a biopic about the woman who made the magic mop. Albeit, it's got Jennifer Lawrence in it, which is a big plus point.
And Robert De Niro.
Visually and acting capabilities.
And Robert De Niro.
And Robert De Niro, which is a little less, but yes.
Yeah, but he's a kick-ass actor.
Oh, he's a kick-ass actor. Yeah, there's no denying. There is no denying he's a kick-ass actor.
I need to introduce a man to you. Have you heard of Don Rickles?
I've heard of Don Rickles, yes.
Yeah. He was on about, he's like 87 and he's still, I found him recently, literally just in this past week. I fell in love with the guy. I've actually ordered his book, his autobiography, because like he hung around with Sinatra and Johnny Carson and all that, and we'd all talk show hosts and like famous singers in America at the time. And he was on about acting in films recently. This is again on Howard Stern, and he was on about. I was just going like, oh, you know, I go on there and I read my lines and I go home. You know, you with De Niro and he's in the room for 20 minutes locking the door and he's like, why did I pick up the gun? Why did I shoot the gun? He was on Letterman's like second to last show or something like that. And he was just like, and Letterman was like, do you remember that time the first you was on the show? And also do you remember the time you was on when you first come on this new show when I come on to CBS? And he's like, remember, what is it, the test? Yeah. I don't know, it's just that I can get why people are excited. Like it's like me with The Hobbit. I was so pumped weeks before that first film come out. I was that pumped. Me and my friend Tyler, we had, do you know the school planners?
Yeah.
We did a countdown on every single day. It was like 300 and so many days to the next Hobbit film, 264 days to the next Hobbit, 263. We used to say every day when we met each other. Every day was that excited for it, and it's that feeling now for the people with Star Wars, and I get it. It's just that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good. I'm more excited by the trailer, to be honest, than the actual Star Wars films.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I thought it was a great trailer. To be honest with you.
It was. It was. Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a good film. It's just that I don't know. I genuinely them David O. Russell biopic stuff about the fighter and stuff. Even if it's about someone with the magic muff, it's them films I enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's just it's them films I enjoy, mate. You know, I was like, I'm sorry.
Is that a pun? Is a pun intended?
What's the pun?
Yes, not intended. Enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. I meant that.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I also meant to be funny just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might say we both failed miserably.
News.
Oh, okay.
DiCaprio's been nominated for The Revenant.
No.
He's been nominated for Best Actor. So is Michael Fassbender from Steve Jobs has been nominated for it.
I bet you Soswell says he's going to win it now.
And also Will Smith in Concussion, apparently. Hang on, has Jennifer Lawrence been snubbed? I don't see.
Yeah, no, of course she has.
I mean, like, not been nominated.
Not today, no.
Well, she was snubbed by the SAG Awards, so I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll see anyway. But, yeah, it's like, there's so many films to look forward to this year, you know, like, coming up in the next, within the next month, like Creed is one I'm looking forward to. I don't know, Star Wars just doesn't run there for me because I don't have a connection to it like other people do. Whereas, like, you've got much more of a connection to it than I am, and you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really am,
Yeah. Look, but part of me, I really want it to be good because I really want to see a good film, and I hope it's good, you know, to see it. But another part of me, I just want it to be terrible for the Francis reaction.
Of course you do.
Not to see, you know, people go apeshit.
To see people committing suicide and mass numbers off the top of the parking.
No, but to see the Francis video.
That is so true.
Do you side with me now? Do you side with me?
I side with you now. Yeah, I want to see a Francis rage on Star Wars. It's just like he did on ESO. It's the name. The Elder Scrolls Online.
I love it because the way he shoots that video is like he's trying not to be angry, but he gets angry, and he's like, but you can't play the fucking game, you're fucking. But I digress.
It's just
his Francis rages and Francis Q&A has always been good, but I think these past few months have kicked up another level with David.
Yeah. Oh, if you don't know who we're talking about.
Booty yeah, that Francis. He
check him out because he is hilarious.
If you haven't already, because he's one of the most popular gaming vlogging people on YouTube. And he's so funny. I just love it now how they start like filming away from him, and you can just hear him in the background.
Yeah.
It's like you just hear him just get like, get out of my house! And like, I was like, what's wrong with us? It's like, dude, I don't know these people.
Did you see his Christmas rage?
Yeah.
It's about making the nativity set.
Nativity, he's got like
For
Princess
the
Peach.
baby Jesus, David! Because you're Jewish!
Oh god, I love these rockstar ones. And he's like, did you come with your ship, David? I'm a shapely man, David. I'm round as a shape. Oh god. It's so funny. I loved it when
he is brilliant.
Did you see when him and Joe played Far Cry?
Far Cry. Yes, I did. I did see that. That was very
Betsy.
funny.
With
Betsy the elephant, yeah.
And he's like, no, Betsy, no. And Boogie's just like, laughing. Yeah. So I think we've come to the end of the episode. You got anything more to add? Any final thoughts?
Yeah. I think we've about finished. No,
Yeah.
I've got nothing left to say.
We're actually on time. Like, we actually got an email from a guy saying, with the good stuff, and he said in commas, in brackets, sorry, that we've never been good at keeping to the actual time.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah, but we've done better this week. We've done a lot
Yeah, I
better.
think we've done all right. We've tried our best.
Yeah. And so, any final thoughts you want to add? Anything? What you planning to play this week? We'll make this a new feature. What you planning to play in the coming week?
I'm going to play more from the Tales from the Borderlands. Probably finish it this week, hopefully. I'll watch it off. I'll pretty much speedrun, I think, Darksiders, just because I want to get through it, play Darksiders 2, give it a fair shout, see what happens, and finish up Red Faction, and then after that go back to Oblivion.
Yeah, well played.
Yeah.
Well played. Are you you think maybe more Oblivion in the coming future?
Absolutely. I just don't think now would be the time to play it, given I really want to get invested in an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
It's like-
sorry about this. I wonder if you can hear the dog snoring behind me.
I actually can't hear it, but yeah.
I'll bring you a bit closer. Oh, she's stopped now.
No.
She knows. She knows.
But yeah, once you get into it, like, there's no turning back. Maybe, and you will have to go with me because I'm going to be honest. If I didn't have the year and a half of George teaching me stuff about games, I wouldn't have had a fucking clue what to do. And like, yeah, I was like, when I spoke to George, because he's techie, the next day I was like, "You're going to be very proud of me," and I was like, and he was like, "Why?" And he's like, "I got more Oblivion to work." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You've learned well." And I was like, "I know." He's like, "It probably would have taken you much shorter, but it took me like 3 hours to do it." And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I get that, because once you've been trying that long to work, you're just like, I'm making it fucking work." And like, but yeah, there's like, do you know when it came on and I heard the music of like Morrowind and seeing the wake up? I was like, "Yes!" He was like, "I did it."
It's like, you are not the father.
Yeah. And then I sent him that message, which you made me laugh in that message.
Yeah.
When I was like, "It works. More Oblivion works." And he was like, "You sound like Frankenstein."
What was that? What did I say?
You said you sounded like Frankenstein in that last message.
Yeah. It works. More Oblivion works. Sound like fucking Frankenstein, man.
Anyway, let's end.
Right. Anyway, what are you playing this week? Just quickly. More Oblivion.
I'll be playing up more Oblivion, and then if I get done with that, I've been kind of getting the gripe to play Shadow Mordor again. I might give that a go. I might be playing a bit more of that because it's been over a year since I played it. Well, about a year, because all the DLC kind of come out pretty quickly, didn't they? And
they did.
I played all the DLC of it, and then I kind of just left it. So I think I'm going to give another go to that, and then if I finish more Oblivion, I'll start Oblivion again.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to really getting involved. I'm going to be exploring much more of the area, northeast of the Red Mountain, because I haven't really gone there yet. Because basically, do you know like Skyrim? Do you know remember the walk from Whiterun to Ivarstead?
Oh shit! Yeah.
What a piss take it was. It's like that to get from the south of the map to the north. You can't go straight. You've got to walk all the way around.
You got to go through round the mountains.
Yeah.
Because
more in the island of Ardenfell is like made in this way of just this huge. It's this huge mountain in the middle. It's just basically a huge volcano. Is basically the island.
Yeah.
So you've got to walk around to get to places. There's some interesting caves, and I love the art style. The Oblivion engine. It really kicks it up and makes it more enjoyable. And I'm actually going to start playing after I get something to eat again.
Yeah, You're making me want to play some Elder Scrolls.
It's such a good game. So it's like God, I know Total Biscuit, he shits on Skyrim a little bit, saying that he doesn't like, he doesn't really get that feeling of the world. He finds the world quite generic, and doesn't like the feeling of, doing nothing from time to time. Whereas, like, me and you and so many other Elder Scrolls fans are in there, and we're just so interested in that world, doing stuff, whereas, like, doing nothing isn't doing nothing, it's exploring, isn't it?
Yeah, doing nothing is still doing something because you're still loving it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He's like, when he was on about it was a podcast a few weeks ago, he was just going on about, like, in the Elder Scrolls, you actually don't really do that much, and I'm just thinking about it, and I just, like, to be fair, he's actually got a point. The amount of times that I've just gone around picking flowers, and to actually enjoy that as much as I do with most other games, more than most other games, is incredible game design.
The amount of times I just hop in and just go for a walk around Solitude in just like regular clothes, no armour, no nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like walk around and just like say hello to people.
Yeah, did I ever tell you about my my giant hunter playthrough?
You did, yeah. You go out every day, kill a giant, and then come back, sleep, and then go out and do the same thing.
Yeah, I'll just say it to I'll just emphasise it a bit more for the viewers. Basically, I started off as I did the main story up to, you get Foos.
Yes.
And then I was like, I'm gonna be nerdy as fuck and actually roleplay this character, and be like, someone who's, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like not really wanting to become that epic warrior and just
reluctant hero.
Yeah, reluctant hero. Who just maybe go around, and become a giant hunter, protecting.
They're the best heroes, aren't they?
Yeah, and like kind of protect, Whiterun, not really claim any reward, live in my house in Breeze Home, and go to the bar and socialise every night. And I'm going to be honest, it was one of my favourite playthroughs of that game. I got from like level 4 to level 25 with just giant hunting. I got into some hairy situations. I played that was my second ever playthrough. That was my second ever one. That was about 7 months after launch, I think it was. Yeah, and I just carried on playing it. And I got some hairy situations where like I was like 3 mammoths, 2 giants, and a dragon were attacking me all at the same time, and but I got pretty good at fighting giants. You just got to keep your distance and run in the water because they don't like water.
Yeah, they really don't, do they?
No.
They also don't like rock faces. If you just stand above them and just literally shoot straight down, vertically down.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
They try everything. They try, bless them, but they really can't do it.
Yeah. And I never went up into Dragon's Reach. I always stayed in the Wind District and the marketplace.
Yeah.
Planted there and stuff. It was great. I loved walking from home to home.
Yeah.
It's like
it took me. Sorry, I must have been playing for about 300 hours or something insane like that before I ever went to Dragon's Reach.
Yeah.
Before I actually went to the top of the mountain
to do the main quest, to do the Golden Claw thing. Did you mean High Hrothgar?
Yeah, High Hrothgar. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, not Dragon's Reach.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
I remember when you were saying it, and you was just like, because I think in Oblivion, tell me if I'm wrong, but as soon as you came in, did you go to Kvatch and do a little bit of the main story, just to kind of give you a bit of a basis?
Yeah, I kind of meandered a little bit.
Yeah, because I think that's what everyone does, because everyone doesn't really know how to start off an Elder Scrolls game. Everyone does a bit of a main story before they get a quest list and continue. Whereas when you got Skyrim, I was like, the next day I was like, how you finding Skyrim, man? How are you enjoying it? And it's just like, I'm just exploring for this going to be for the first 50 or so hours, just exploring all these different areas, going into caves and stuff, because it's great. And he was like, I remember how excited you were about how good the dungeons were, because they were handcrafted.
Yeah, they were so pretty.
Yeah, they were so pretty, but they were so well laid out. I remember. One of my favourite ones was the one, near Solitude, where you've got to sneak up on the guy who's the Argonian, and it was like the East Empire Trading Company. There's like their warehouse. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That was a great dungeon. God, I can't wait until we get more Elder Scrolls stuff when you get that from India, because it's just going to be an hour of us talking about our dungeon adventures in Skyrim.
It's going to be so great.
There's going to be like 5 people listening to it. And we're just going to be there like we're just going to be there like it's our favourite show.
We can create like a little fan kind of community, like fire team, sort of thing. We can call ourselves the ESOs, no, the ESs, or there's something, the Elder Scrolls guys, or the Scroll Masters.
I don't know, like one. God, like it's just going to be great. It's just going to be great. And like, can I say a podcast that you'd like?
Yeah.
Do you know the Elder Scrolls Off the Record guys?
Yes.
Because
yeah.
they talk a lot about, you know, the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks they do a show called Classic Elder Scrolls Night.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you could listen to episodes from like episode 1. To be honest, you could listen to it all the way through, and then you could get a sense of how excited people were for ESO, and then just shot down. But,
destroyed.
Because basically, you know, it follows. It stands for Skyrim Off the Record for like 20 episodes, and then they got more hosts, and they actually got fans in as hosts.
Yeah.
And they became friends. They actually went to PAX East and stuff like that, and together and everything. And it's just great listen to the show grow, because I listened to it, you know, when ESO was being announced, listened to all the episodes and everything. But Classic Elder Scrolls Night, literally the only rule is that they're not allowed to talk about Elder Scrolls Online. They've got to talk about either Skyrim. They even talk about, you know, even the older games like Redguard and Battlespire, you know, and things like that. You know, the games that like come out on, like Battlespire come out on your phone, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
You know, and Redguard was just this little linear adventure.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's really good to listen to. Like, you're in the dungeon adventures, and like, there's a guy called Shank the Tank, and he just talks about, like, you know, going around picking flowers and everything in the game. And
This is Shank the Tank.
Shank the Tank, yeah. And he goes on about him like, so how do you like the Elder Scrolls? And he's like, he just goes, man, what a religious experience.
Religious experience.
You'd really like it. I suggest listening. If you're going to listen to it, it's like one of them things. You can get it on Situation, you can get it on your phone. You've got an Android, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Is it Android or Apple you've got?
Apple.
Apple. You can get it on iTunes. It's on iTunes.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's 100% free, so...
Oh, fantastic. That's a great plug.
Yeah,
oh.
It's a good plug for them. Like, they don't need it because they're quite popular. Well, very popular, but it's something that you'd really love. And if you're any Elder Scrolls fan, just hearing people... I don't know, the thing that I get, hearing people talk about their adventures in Skyrim for the first time, you know, because their very first Elder Scrolls game was Skyrim, they've gone back and played them all because they fell in love with them.
Yeah.
Just hearing them talk about...
I did the same, didn't I, really?
It is. Just hearing people talk about stuff for the first time, you know, when you played it, it's just, I don't know, you just get this feeling of just like, I don't know, it kind of makes you feel a little bit happy, just feel like, oh, like nostalgic, I remember that, this is the feeling I had, you know. And it's good,
totally.
And they set like challenges and stuff, going like, okay, like this week could be, you know, the Frost challenge where you can only use the Frost destruction spell and see how long you can do without living, or they'll do the tank challenge when you can do absolutely no magic whatsoever. You can only use like swords and stuff.
Yeah.
And archery, and see how good you'll get. But anyway, speaking of how good we are at keeping over time, we've actually gone 15 minutes over.
I think we'll probably cut it down at some point.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
So great job with that.
Yeah.
That's sweet irony right there. Talking about how good we are at timekeeping actually takes us over time.
Oh god. Anyway, so thanks for watching, listening,
as always,
the podcast, and please check out the YouTube channel and the donations and everything. Any questions to DagoraTV@gmail.com. And
remember, if we get 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, we get to go to Disney.
We're off to Disneyland,
so
baby.
Please.
We get to go any Disneyland, Disney World for free. Alright.
Nice.
So, thanks for watching and goodbye.